warned you about this. Kyle might not have warned anybody about this. This is the bit where we go live, completely cold and open. Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
I'm always warm, baby.
Oh, and Rabbi, given that we start every week with this, I've got another Canadian weather update for you.
Oh, yeah, I don't.
Okay, yeah. Well, remember how it was like really hot and we had the heat oven bubble? Well,
yes.
The bubble burst, and we actually basically had winter for 2 days this week. It went down to freezing, and we had some snowflakes in August.
Again, if you would just stop angering God with your your evil defiance of any normal human civilization.
Yeah.
And, I mean, listen, I can't believe England has been sunk under the seas as yet. I mean, although I think the flag post is the process probably keeping them afloat.
Things are looking up, Rabbi.
Yeah, it's Canada for you, baby.
You'd be proud of your original home country here, mate, to find out. This is my local chip shop. This week, they've gone all in on raising the colours and keeping the prices of the chips relatively low. Check it out.
Oh,
I like that.
Did they really do that?
They really done this.
That's impressive.
I would so go there for some fish and chips. That's awesome.
That's impressive.
If I lived there, I'd go apply for the manager job.
Yes, it's vacant right now. If anybody wants to relocate, they'd be happy to have you. I don't doubt.
Would that get me closer to you, Dan? I'm good. I'll do that.
Yes, it'd be uncomfortably close. You'd be closer. This is a few streets away, Kev. You be careful what you wish for. You'd see me out running and getting a newspaper and all sorts of things.
Wait a minute, gluten-free fish and chips? Oh, I would. If I was manager, I'd stop that immediately.
Yeah, down with the celiac disease. If you got celiac disease, you're canceled.
They do a lot there. That's where
I feel like
there's
a witch coven that hangs out up on that second floor there. I just feel it.
I have to say, I had excellent fish and chips on Friday. I went to a wedding.
Kevin, that's why they're only open, Kevin, all day, because at night they do that kind of stuff.
That's I knew it.
Well, it was a weed farm up there for a little while, but I think that was closed down. And now it's a legitimate business once more, and it is legitimately patriotic too. Yes, so that's Ivan's Fish and Chips in Old Hill in the West Midlands. Everybody get down there and show them some appreciation, definitely. Speaking of appreciation, it's great to have you back, Keith. Keith Isles, of course, of Home Media Minefield and the British Isles and the Let's See What's Out There podcast. It's been a while, mate. I can't wait to catch up because I've got no idea what you think of all the stuff that we've got coming up. It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah. Hey, can I just point out that Keith appeared on my broadcast without actually appearing on my broadcast last week?
Okay. Explain.
I had a thought, right? I said, this is a message I will send to Keith. I'll kill two birds with one stone. And it was, I was holding my phone up, and it was like he was there. It was really, and I actually said during it, he talk about this much when he's on my stream, when he's actually here, right? But he was like a guest on my stream that night.
Well, speaking about guests that aren't here, Keith, I mean, we did try. I reached out to Ian David Diaz because he is back in the country. He's been directing abroad for a little while. He couldn't make it, or he politely declined, said he got other plans. But we do have this picture that Ian has put up on social media of you and he, Keith. I don't know. Since it's only you there, I mean, did they know you were present at that theatre that evening?
Oh no, it actually did fill up, but we got there nice and early. Yes, so it was. But yes, Jaws 50th anniversary and seeing it in IMAX, and
wow.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Yes.
Excellent choice, sir. Excellent choice. It's great to have you back. We're also joined for the first time properly, really, for the first time in a few years, by Kev here from the Fandom Podcast Network. Huge Highlander fan, massive Star Wars guy, big Trekker too, and also big into the hair metal, aren't you, Kev? You host the hair metal podcast.
80s metal, and you'll like this too. I didn't get a chance to see it live because I was in Australia with my wife because she's from Australia, but I found a nice, great bootleg copy of Back to the Beginning, the last concert with Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath. And let me tell you, for those of you that didn't see the live stream, these are out on the eBays and internets. And it gives you the full uncut version because you're going to see a movie version of it or a cut down version of it, and it's fantastic. It's emotional at times, knowing that this was recorded 17 days before Ozzy's death. Of course, you know how crazy it was around your area, and so we did a podcast on this that we released 3 days before Ozzy's death, and we're going to do another Ozzy tribute on the Hair Metal podcast.
Oh, we gave a big tribute to Ozzy here as well, didn't we? As he would have wished. Brilliant, nice one, Kev. Yeah, we did a big tribute to Ozzy when he passed away, because you're a huge fan, aren't you, Chris? So we did rather a deep dive on Ozzy's career and contribution to pop culture.
Yeah, I've watched actually several videos on YouTube of that performance, some cell phones, some bits of the actual broadcast. Yeah, I will. When I'm assuming when the theatrical version comes out, hopefully that comes out on 4K. I will definitely be getting that. And I don't normally buy music DVDs, so that'll be like the first one I've bought in like decades.
No, but that was one where he was in the chair and he was very interactive with the fans.
Yeah, it was right before he died. It was and
very impressive. I mean, he's always been impressive, I guess.
Well, Kevin, you probably agree with this too. It was amazing to watch him because by that point he could barely talk, he could barely utter a word. He's on that chair, and then all of a sudden he sounds like it's like 1991 again.
There was 3 highlights for me. I'll put Ozzy at the top, obviously, when he does Mama, I'm Coming Home. There was not a dry eye in that stadium, and I was tearing up watching him. Yep, Youngblood doing Changes, that obscure Black Sabbath ballad, and then Nuno Betancourt, who came on and did guitar on 12 of those tracks live and just killed it. And also, more importantly, did the Bark at the Moon solo flawlessly, because Jakey Lee can't do it anymore, and he's admitted to that. Get chills just thinking about it. But yeah, it's awesome.
Sounds fantastic. We can't bring Ozzy back. Of course we can't. We couldn't bring them back. We have tried. I've written several letters, but we have succeeded. Well,
that's
collectively,
for you, Rabbi.
I think, collectively, all of us have succeeded over Cracker Barrel. Now, we don't have Cracker Barrel in Britain. It's something I'd never really heard of. We hear mention of it now and again in American movies and TV shows. But the Cracker Barrel also, they did the corporate thing, didn't they? Where they went to a sort of flat rebranding model to make it look like an app. Do you got a Cracker Barrel, Kev? Is that somewhere you would
not near me, but I've been to plenty because I used to live in the old South Atlanta, Georgia area, and they were a good family restaurant to go to, and they always had great stuff during the holidays. Really affordable food, big family place, and they're an institution. So yeah.
Where are you? I think, by the way.
I'm in Santa Barbara, California, which is the northern part of Southern California.
I'm in Newport Beach. So
there you go. Yeah. So yeah, I'm about maybe 2-hour drive up the coast from LA area. So yeah.
I live in hell. Right. but we actually I don't know if we still do, but we used to get Cracker Barrel cheese in Canada.
We got that in I remember when I lived in America. Yeah.
Because when I look at Americana and American brands in particular, because I work in graphic design, it's my thing. So when I look at logos like this, I think, who would that? To me, that is steeped in Americana.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Why would they lose that? But after a campaign, an intense campaign of customer resistance, I think for about a 36-hour period, they did bring back that original logo and scrap that flat app style. And it was just in time before they had to break out the big guns. They didn't have to resort to that in the end. But it's good for the customers.
Wait, is that an actual picture?
Yes.
No. It is.
If that was one of the employees of Cracker Barrel, I'd be there all the time.
That is totally an AI.
No, I actually I'm looking at it, Rabbi. I think that's real. That is all.
I do this all the time.
When in doubt, always look at the background and look at the hands.
Okay,
there's nothing AI about her, Rabbi.
Yeah, no.
Another title. Thumbnails.
There's some shadows around the parts, and
I call shenanigans.
I like this picture. Just make that the thumbnail. Chris. Yeah, I know we're horrible. We're about to get.
AI than Facebook.
I love that Sydney is just always real about everything.
I'm a very simple person. I
keep
like
it completely real.
Well, we're forcing everybody to watch Madam Web for Halloween.
Absolutely.
Awesome for two reasons. One, it's the most ridiculous thing you will ever watch, and second, Sydney Sweeney, very short dress. Dancing on a table.
You win me on the second one, of course.
But is it more ridiculous than this monkey riding the BMX
That's
on,
BJ and the
No,
Bear.
that's real.
That's from
That's
BJ and the Bear.
Like Kermit
the
riding
Bear.
the best special effect ever was Kermit the Frog riding a bicycle. Still incredible this day.
Officially not AI. That is a real chimp, just as Keith said from the was it a long running show? The much missed show BJ and the Bear.
Three
Yes, that was
seasons.
Oh,
really what it was called. all the way back. Okay, that's probably enough merriment to start off with. I think everybody knows who everyone is and what the general tone is, the lay of the land. It's time for us to get stuck in. I feel this is the bit where we get out there and I give you a generous dollop of this.
David, I'm sorry I called you back for this, old friend.
Well, Kit, it's been a long time, old buddy. You know these guys?
No, David, but I don't think they've come to wash my windscreen.
You got this, retro look, huh?
I've let things slide a little, David. This is bad, isn't it?
No, don't worry. You got me out of plenty of scrapes. Let me get you out of this one. Upgrading to Prime.
Upgrading? Things are going down pretty fast here, David.
I know, kid. Just hold tight. Let Prime take this, huh? Now that is a good look.
Oh, my word. I think I'm in love.
You and me both.
I think we can lose the car wash crew now, David. Hit the button.
Whatever you say. Whoa! Now that is a nice look.
You've done it, David. I feel like $1 million.
Why, you look more like $1 billion. Wow.
Yes, it's the Spacebook Live, the mother lode of out there entertainment on YouTube and Rumble for Saturday, the 30th of August, 2025 and beyond. We've got a far out panel here with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks. Where are we going to go and in what order? That's sort of for us to find out all collectively together. But we've got a lot of spaceports to check in at as we make our way through the pop culture landscape. As ever, you can do your bit by chipping in the live chat on Rumble and on YouTube. And that will be it. It will be our glorious Saturday evening UK time. Various different times all over the world, afternoons and mornings for some as well, I don't doubt. But between us, we'll make sense of the madness somehow, won't we? Obviously, here we come to another weekend. It's time to take stock of the stories that have been all over the media in the last few days, all the new media. And it's getting harder and harder to cover and to keep track of, I find, Kev. As somebody who runs a network and is on a multitude of podcasts, how do you keep track of it, like through your smartphone, or do you just sort of check in every now and again? How do you manage your time with such an expanded amount of content and, if anything, too much information?
Yeah, there's a lot of information, and you have to get to the point to where you got to kind of pick and choose where your comfort zone is. And also, as you know, Kyle and I, and I think it was my wife that started the thing where Kyle and I share a brain. And sometimes he has it, sometimes I have it. But Kyle and I are on the same kind of plane when we decide what to cover and what to talk about. Because there's some things that's just like, it's a time crunch thing. And between the both of us, we're always messaging each other, hey, check this out or look at this. We're excited about. And then that also pertains to what our flagship show, Culture Clash, will show about what we've seen and what's important to us, because we do measure the fandom, but we usually measure it within our group and our age and our area, kind of like all of us here on this panel. We're not gonna necessarily, talk about the TikTok crowd for 14-year-olds, that type of thing. What we're basically going to do is stick to 80s and 90s and 2000s, and then some of the stuff that's happening now that's coming out that's hitting that certain chord of fandom that we will always kind of be a fan of and share.
Speaks to us.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what, my wife asked me the other day, she's like, why are you still on X? Because X is, so, vitriol and angry at times. And I said, well, that's because we get a lot of news from there. And we also stay in touch with several other of our fans and friends through that as well.
Right? It's a prime networking site. That's where you're on.
It is, especially with sports too. It's like if you want to stay on top of sports, you got to stay on top of X. And but we still use Instagram, and we're on Blue Sky now as well, and Facebook, of course.
It's the best place to find out sort of where it's at and what's on people's minds. We'll be looking at what's on your minds later on when it comes to
I love this.
When it comes to one,
so much.
That poor sheep. That poor
keep your powder
sheep.
dry, guys. Keep your powder dry. Yeah, we'll be checking in later on with the progress of Alien Earth, that series that's FX and Hulu's entry into the franchise, the long-running Alien franchise that we've been watching on the weekly. So if you've been watching too, you want to keep up with our conversation, you're not going to want to miss that
I want
coming
you to know,
later on.
I took time out of my spare time to re-review Alien Episode 3 and do a recap of Episode 4, so I had a rough idea what we're talking about. Because I know we'll wait till we get there, but we're having diametrically opposing experiences, I believe. Right, I am loving every second of it, but that's why, because I went back and looked at it. Thought, maybe I was just beguiled by the stunning Episode 1 and 2, which were very strong. I guess we'll wait till we get there. We'll talk about it when we get there, right?
We are sighted. We are sighted on our targets and beguiled, as always, by everything that's going on in movies and TV. Keith, when I saw this story break, I immediately thought of you because I know you're a bit of a nostalgist. I thought if anybody will be able to answer this question, it will be Keith. So what I want to know is, were you back in the day? Were you Team Jacob or Team Edward when Twilight was the forefront of popular culture?
Are you seriously asking me this? I could not give a shit about this.
You see, I thought this would be the news that you're all waiting for, you see, because the 20th anniversary of Twilight, a Twilight movie marathon is going to hit the cinemas from
Wait.
29.
Could the story be they're erasing it from reality on the 20th anniversary? They're going to abort it somehow?
I'm afraid not. It's quite the opposite. So it's 20 years since the books started, and the first film came out in 2008. They made 5 movies out of those 4 books, didn't they? The first one was really quite low budget. It was so low budget they couldn't actually afford to put widespread CGI on all the vampires. That's where you get a sort of golden sort of glow and hum on
Dan
some
was
of
there
them.
the day it came out. He was in line. He
This
had
is
a
a
Twilight hat on and his shirt.
This is a strange phenomenon. So they're putting 5 movies out in theaters across 5 nights. And initially, my reaction was very, very similar to yours. But after a little while, I thought, well, this is the kind of thing they would do for Lord of the Rings or for the MCU. Is it time to let these movies in from the cold, Gary? Were you a Twilight guy?
Yes, he was.
I have to say that I'm on team never having seen 1 second of it. No, I mean, I was a big Angel fan, but this for some reason never appealed to me. I guess because it felt like some kind of tweeny romantic thing, and I couldn't have cared less.
It had a target audience, didn't it, Rabbi? I'd imagine your children are mostly the same age as mine. My eldest stepdaughter went nuts for this.
Oh yeah, my kids loved it. But it was like I couldn't not take the piss out of it, right? I watched Harry Potter with them and kind of got into it. But like, this is just pathetic. This is vampires. I mean, like, I actually said to my kids, "You like pussy vampires." Right, and I was like, I had the same inflection in my voice when, if you ever seen the movie Gladiator, when what's his name, who's dead now,
Oliver Reed.
Oliver Reed was complaining that his giraffe wouldn't mate or something. Or something. You sold me queer giraffe, right? That's how I was like. You have pussy vampires. They glow in the dark. Really? No, they should rip out a virgin's throat. And they were like 6 at the time. Yeah, I'm like, they were old, but it was around there.
Dan, you said this was, did you say this was over 5 nights that they're doing this? Because I remember,
films,
I
five
remember
nights.
back when I was really
Where?
little, I
In
didn't go to
cinema?
it, but I remember hearing about, for example, like they would do like the 5 original like Planet of the Apes movies, but they would all be in one day. Or
Yeah.
I remember
be
the
at
day
that.
before Back to the Future Part 3 came out. They showed 1 and 2, so you could see them all
Exactly.
together in a row. They should be showing all of this in like one day for like
Right.
the real fans who want to sit
It's
there
because
for
they're pussies.
for 12
it's pussy
hours.
vampires made for pussy children.
I did all of
this
the.
was the gateway into the destruction of fandom.
I
That we
did an
let this in.
all-nighter.
We should have burnt the negatives when we first got whiff of this bullshit, right? And
But Rabbi, speaking
and just
to
pretend it never happened. It
speaking
would
to the
make
kind
life
of
better for everybody.
speaking to the kind of sentiment that Kev was just mentioning a moment ago, why I brought this up is because this was a generation or two kind of after us, and yet here we are with a wave of nostalgia starting to build for stuff that was in the noughties. And sincerely, I
That's
wondered if
because
this
we're old.
freaked anybody out. I think clearly, Rabbi,
Yes.
it
We're
does.
all old. We're all old, and we're all going to die soon. Be depressed. When nostalgia exists for stuff that was like popular when you're in your 30s, that's when you know it's over. We are so far removed from, what do they call it, the popular zeitgeist at this point, although I really wouldn't want to be. Although, fun fact, so Rabbi, I'm assuming you saw at least some of these in the theater?
No, thank God, none of them.
Okay. But did you, Dan?
I saw the first 2. And,
by choice?
And then I saw the third. Sort of. It was a family
No, we had a
thing.
drunk driving ticket.
I took my stepdaughter to see the second one, and so I had to see the first one, and then I saw the third one on home media, and it bored me silly. So I don't know how the thing ended, but I do have a certain sort of fondness for that time.
Very creepily, from what I know. I actually at one point when everybody was giving up their physical media, I inherited a few small collections. I actually have 4 of the 5 movies in my collection. And at one point, I would actually display them at the front of my shelf just to mess with people. So the first thing they would see is the Twilight movies. Like, yeah.
I feel like I have to step in here because I'm on the other side of the table here for reasons. First of all, I want to state that my favorite vampire movie of all time is Near Dark, and they don't mention the word vampire in it.
What an amazing movie.
Followed by Lost Boys is my second favorite. But
I was about to say that.
I've always been a fan of vampire movies in general, especially if it comes from a different angle. And I know the group and the young readers that this series was targeting in the movie specifically. But not having read the books until the first movie was coming out, I got the audiobook. I actually enjoyed the take on it. I saw what it was targeting and who it was targeting for, but it was a movie I actually bonded on with my my late wife when I was married previously, and I was I was a Best Buy exclusive member, which was one of the biggest retailers of physical media at the time.
Yep.
And they invited me and my soon-to-be first wife. We went to do a screening because I was a Best Buy thing, and it was the first time I ever went to a movie where I had to hand over my phone, and while we were watching the film, they had people with these little like scopes looking to see if anyone was like secretly recording it. And I'd gone to all of the theaters and stuff, and I know a lot of people my age make fun of this sparkly vampires. I get it. But I thought the series had some moments. I thought the last one was a little but I enjoyed the first trilogy, and I enjoyed there's some really hot chicks in it too. But I think that there's a story for everyone when it comes to telling vampires. And I know this is an easy target for a lot of people, but I'm going to stand up for it. And I actually have the entire series in digital at home.
I think my belief for the most part is that they're harmless. I genuinely thought the first film, despite the fact I was conscious while I was watching it, this isn't marketed at me, but I thought it was a well-made, low-budget, nicely acted little thing. And I sincerely wished it all the best. Kind of like it was like a teenage version of remember Ginger Snaps from about 25 years ago?
Oh God, I love that film.
You know, that was aimed very much at me. I thought, well, this is kind of the flip side to that. And so I thought I was happy for these things to exist. You know, it's
Dan,
never. Yes.
Here's what I'm going to do. Since for some reason I have it, I do this thing where occasionally things that I refuse to watch ever. Harry Potter was that for like 20 years. I will eventually watch it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to approach this with an open mind as somebody who's spent the past 15 or however many years making fun of this series. Seeing as I've never watched it, I will watch the first film, possibly the first three, completely objectively. Good thing is it's before the woke time.
Your review of it.
So
I'm really fascinated to hear what you think of it.
Well, no, I will approach these objectively. I'll watch at least the first one, and I will see what I think. But
I was curious, who was it that mentioned they should show it all in one day? Because that's the way they used to do the marathons in the mid 2000s.
Yes.
You would. I did the extended Lord of the Rings marathon when the 4th or 5th Die Hard movie came out. They showed them all in one day. Yeah, whenever there was a new Marvel film, they were doing it from the beginning, from Iron Man. I liked the whole day in the theater
they did it
thing.
With Star Trek movies too. Up until I don't know. I remember seeing Star Trek 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in one day.
Yeah, they still do that.
And Kevin,
this summer I did an all-nighter of the Mission Impossible films before the new.
Yeah. And there was, about those, I can't remember. Crazy. Maybe Kevin remembers. What was the franchise? Remember, because I read about this online where it was like an all-night thing, and they showed people coming in like around like 6 o'clock, and then they stayed in the theater like all night for a thing. I would not want to sleep in a theater watching these.
Well,
movies.
We actually did that for when Star Wars Episode 7 came out, and they did it with 8 too, where they would start with Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, and we went in, I think at like 2 or 3 in the morning. And then it was great though, because the theater had certain sections where you can like go take a nap during certain scenes if you wanted to. But yeah, and then you would stay. And what's cool is that you could buy like one popcorn bucket and Coke thing and just refill it all the time. And they allowed you to bring in your own food in case you had dietary needs.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I've done this not really enough cocaine to go through all 8 Star Wars movies in one day.
The thing that I remember,
there's not enough speed or cocaine to make me do that.
The thing I remember about the Twilight films chiefly is this meme, because it was the first meme I think I ever laughed at when I saw the phenomena of the Twilight moms there. And of course, when you look back at the reaction to Madame Web about 2 years ago, and that guy got chucked out of the cinema for pleasuring himself in, I thought this is probably the female equivalent. So there was all of that going on. It was quite unseemly for a little while, and then the kind of low-level Avengers Endgame feeling to the conclusion to this, which now, of course, looks preposterous. But I imagine if you were really invested in these movies, like my daughter was, it must have felt like that for that demographic, and I'd never begrudge.
I'm sorry. The best meme ever from this entire thing is what's his name on the right, the lead vampire that was married to Kate Beckinsale, and he's dressed up in that little pompous outfit, and I've seen that meme used over and over and over again.
What's the name of that awesome vampire series with Kate Beckinsale?
Underworld. Underworld.
Underworld.
Oh, they're awesome. Okay, that's how you do vampires versus werewolves.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Made $3.346 billion worldwide box office. So think, well, who are we to? Yeah, exactly. God bless is what I say to the Twilight franchise, and I wish anybody who enjoys those movies all the best. And if you're going to go and do the all-nighter, I hope you get on okay, and let us know. By all means, happy 20th anniversary to Twilight.
I mean that I will watch. I'll force myself to it. I'll try to watch it sometime this week, and then I will give my honest, objective, like 2-decade removed review. And there you go.
And listen, if you do your Twilight, 5-movie marathon,
don't go in angry though, guys. Don't do that where I'm going to go in and try to make shit of it right away. Go in with serious.
I'm
having to do that a lot lately with films that I bagged in the 90s and the 80s, and my mind's changed on them, and so it's given me a different perspective.
Actually, Kevin, I usually go into these. When I do these rewatches, I always go in with an open mind.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
People can't understand if we all talk at once. They don't know who's talking, so we've just let everybody else get to speak, and then we'll get there. We'll get there. So, yeah, if you want to find out what Chris thought of Twilight,
I'm curious. Yeah.
by all means, everybody. And whilst you're at it, check out the playlists of past editions of this show, our pop culture live stream on Rumble and on X. Check out our Bond shows, our general news of movies and TV shows, our anniversary deep dives into films like Jaws, just like Keith and Ian went to see that recently in the cinema again, and our physical media nights too. Let's go and say hello to the people in the live chat and see what their memories of Twilight, and more to the point, what they've got to say about all the stuff we've been talking about so far.
I'm going to tell you how it's going to be. With Scotch's lifetime guarantee. Take what you want both night and day. Then re-record, not fade away. Re-record, not fade away. Re-record,
if it's Scotch, it's guaranteed for life.
Yeah, keep watching your screen. Keep watching the stars, everybody. And thank you for joining us here for the Spacebook Live as we head into September, believe it or not. Okay, so I hope that advert won awards. It's superb. It says garbage. Which one? The one we just played, the Scotch one. I think it did. We've got another fan of Underworld. Oh, that's you, Kev. There we are. Yep. Underworld is awesome, and Kate is hot.
Tying into that advert. Can I just call bullshit on a lifetime guarantee?
That's the movie that's the movie that made her my movie wife.
That makes sense. It was a good choice. She did well.
PD Rich speculates that Twilight is probably what marked the death of geek culture.
That's really what I feel. I really believe that.
It took off. So the movie was in the theater the same year, Chris, as the first MCU movie. So you could look at that as confirmation of PD Rich's point, or as something that wipes it out.
The Dark Knight. It's a whole other topic, but I would say no, geek culture died in 2015 because that's when everything literally went to hell.
I think it's a fair time.
Yeah, that would be a whole other show to discuss that. But yes, the geek culture died in 2015, and the first corpse death was Ghostbusters 2016. So you could say 2015, 2016.
Patient Zero was the Ghostbusters franchise. Robert Payne's joined us in the live chat. So has Donnie. So has Peter as well, who says there's a very, very bad movie take on this. The Last Vampire on Earth. It is terrible, but such a laugh. Does that star Vincent Price? Somebody like that?
No, I've seen it. It's horrible.
That was called The Last Man on Earth. That was in the late 50s.
One time.
No, I've actually seen Last Vampire on Earth. It's one of those low-budget to-be-made movies, and it is up there as possibly one of the worst things you will ever see. Not in a good way. It's just awful.
I Am Legend's been made a few times.
Hi to Darren M watching on YouTube. Good to have you with us, mate. Lord Thoth is into moderating for us this time. Thank you. Good to have you here, mate. And yes, Oliver Reed says PD Rich, the one and only Oliver Reed, still a much missed character of a film. I think there aren't too many around like him at the moment, are there, Keith? Really?
No, he was a legend for sure.
And
bearing in mind, they had to do some, special effects to add him even in that film because, he was lost before the release. So, yeah,
I remember.
I think Pierce Brosnan's like the only elder statesman actor I can think of now. Is what's still alive? Dumbledore.
There are plenty of older actors now. Both Dumbledores are now no longer with us, but we do have a new one.
I think Pierce Brosnan's like that. Like who else is there? But that's got that old school power behind it. I'm thinking of those. Dumbledore also was the same guy. I'm thinking of that breed of actor. Peter O'Toole, you're talking about, aren't you? Yeah.
The Peter O'Toole, Richard Harris, all those kind of actors who had that kind of. They didn't care really. They got in, they did their job to the best of their ability, picked up their money and buggered off home and got drunk. And that's
you can totally see they all served in World War II. Apparently, they all got that vibe to them.
Made of a certain breed, I think, a certain breed. Mark Lee Sith is in the live chat and says, I just saw a video of an American trying beans on toast and he approved of it. There we go. So we're converting Americans bit by bit to beans on toast.
Never me. I hate baked beans.
We've got to work on the mushy peas. That'll be next, Chris.
I was about to say that, Dan, you will never, ever, ever convince me that vomit on a plate is in any way appealing. Down with
mushy peas are awesome, mate.
No.
Especially battered mushy peas. They're the best. Right, where they dip them in batter and then they fry them again. Right, that's when you know you got real mushy peas.
Robert Payne advises that Oliver Reed would be 87 now if it wasn't for the fact that he was dead. Yeah,
I believe, didn't he die in the middle of a drinking contest? From what I remember,
he was doing the Wimbledon 8. Yeah, he was getting smashed in London. He was doing the Wimbledon 8 tournament. I think he was on pub number 6 where he was taken ill. So he went out, I think, as he would have wished, sniffing the barmaid's apron, and 3 feet from the urinal, as I recall. So yeah,
the old great Eric Sykes.
He went out in a blaze of glory, Rabbi, a blaze of glory. Yes, great. Yes, so thank you everybody who's watched so far. We've got lots more topics. I know that people are going to enjoy a lot more than that one. But before we check in with that, I think we've got another cautionary tale to observe as well. Yes, we're back. We're back, Chris. Back to, I was going to say your comfort zone, but it's anything but. It's definitely a discomfort zone where we give people cautionary tales, don't we? Timeless cautionary tales from across the globe, courtesy of public information films or public service announcements, depending on where you are in the world. Is depends on what you know them as. So you've got quite a treat for us this week as well, haven't you?
Yes. So today we're going to learn a lesson in about chemical burns, and even though the bathroom is gross, this isn't worth it. This is also from the "Some Days Are Bloodier Than Others" campaign out of the province of Alberta, and it has an awesome soundtrack. So roll it, Dan.
An awesome soundtrack.
I'm just going to check the bathrooms.
Oh my God.
Ooh. I was waiting for the zombies to come in.
Well, obviously, this is a caution tale against women in the workplace. You know, it's.
I was going to try. Is the lesson from this don't work in a gas station?
Well,
no, they're gas station inspectors, because gas stations have inspectors, right? So they're official Canadian gas station inspectors, and this daft bit doesn't know how to get down a bottle. Like, really, you have been trained how to touch that highly toxic substance. No, I'll just dump that on my face.
Well, no, but who didn't
and now
put
they scream and cry.
No, who didn't put somebody didn't put a lid on it.
Don't be a moron and handle hazardous objects, right? Maybe you could be promoted above your abilities, which is clearly what's happened here. Oh, I mean, look at
I
this.
do wonder, Chris, what became of the directors of these classics? Do they go on to make sort of low-rent horror movies, or maybe take over the reins of the Friday the 13th franchise, things like that, or Lake Placid? I mean, what become? Because clearly they want to be making something else when they put these together.
Well, these are kind of like little Final Destination movies. And our gas stations are much scarier now. You have actual zombies with the needles. So yeah, it is. Well, my country's a zombie apocalypse, but that's a whole other story. Yeah. So
it's a cautionary tale.
And for next week, go ahead, Dan.
Well, when I see some of those, I think, well, that could happen to anyone. Or, I've seen a version of that happen on a much smaller scale, but obviously they amplify it. But
That's
things
a bad
like that,
day.
it does seem like a mini horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really bad day. And for the next one for next week, it's going to be a wonderful story of an older lady finding her youth. And the question is, what could possibly go wrong? So I'm going to leave you with that for the next week, and just use your imagination. Well, what's going to happen to this lady discovering her youth?
Can I ask? Does she learn to speak the love that dare not say its name?
That's dirty. No.
Only if you do it right.
Thank you again for pointing us in the direction of this, Chris, for putting these together, for curating this selection of treats from across the world that obviously are going to help us in our day-to-day life. If you've got a favorite as well, let us know in the comments section by all means. And maybe when it comes to Christmas, we'll put together a top 10. Whatever you think are the best ones, the ones that have kept you awake at night the most, and we'll play them again, and maybe throw in a couple of Christmas ones.
I think the Christmas special of it. I think that's the way to go.
There's some sad Christmas ones. Who likes having their house burnt down on Christmas Day? Well, we're gonna ruin your Christmas because we suck.
I was sort of half joking, but if there are Christmas ones, I think we may have to go for that. What
day this year?
What do people say?
It's December 25th.
No, day of the week.
I think it's like Saturday. I don't know. Someday. Yeah.
The great curator says Lord Thoth, sorry, and Lucy Meow simply says make horror movies. Great again. But they're on the way back, aren't they? There's been some big horror movies this year.
Weapons was really good.
Great cinema this year.
Weapons was great. Yeah. Weapons, Sinners, Final Destination, Bloodlines.
Say that.
Amazing.
Also, too, if you haven't had a chance, make sure you check out Primitive War, because there's a lot of gore in that one as well. And it's the dinosaur movie we really wanted, to be honest with you, man.
I've never even heard of that one.
I will also shout out The Substance, which at least came out on physical media this year.
Which is great. Yeah.
Big advocates of physical media here on this show as well, Kev. As you can probably tell by Kev's surroundings, he's very much one of us. He's a fellow of the course. We've got the same reactions as usual, Chris, to the public service film there. Lots of WTF. People can't quite believe what they've seen, but I think you're doing more than your fair share here to make sure that people don't make the same mistakes as the unfortunate souls that we see in these films. So yeah, you're doing sterling work. Bring her back is peak, says Dalek.
Yeah, it was.
What's that?
Yeah, my wife, who is a horror movie expert, that is her forte. She says that movie was just one of the best she's seen in a while. And she said, and then she told me, like, you won't like it; it'll trigger you. So I'm like, all right, I'll let you watch it.
I watched
few and far between horror movies. Last one I saw was this. How long ago it is? Oculus, I think. That's the last time I remember. How long was that?
That was 2013, dude.
That's a great movie. I really like that movie, but that's the frequency I see horror movies.
Well, another one that was good, which is worth checking out, Death of a Unicorn was actually quite good with Paul Rudd and Jenna Ortega. I would recommend that.
Is that a horror movie?
Basically, yes.
Yeah,
really?
it's got horror themes in it. Yeah.
And I have not seen Bring Her Back, but I just picked it up on it was just Blu-ray, but I'll be watching that this weekend.
It's the easiest genre to get sort of wrong, I feel, and to push me away with. But when I see a good horror movie, it's really satisfying. You know, you're taken through all that sort of range of emotions, aren't you? And a great horror movie will get a lot of people back in the cinema, of course, because there's that kind of date movie aspect to it as well. People are going back to the cinemas, not just for the Twilight movies there in 6 weeks or so, but more to the point, for this. So this has been announced. Prepare to feel old again, guys. I'm so sorry. Back to the Future is going to be 40 years old later this autumn. And so on October the 31st, 2025, the beloved original film is returning to cinemas all over the world for a limited engagement in some of those sort of premium large screen formats like Dolby Cinema 4DX, D-Box, whatever that is. And there are new posters to go with this 40th anniversary sort of lap of honor, I suppose, for the DeLorean. I haven't been to any of these anniversary screenings yet. As you may have guessed by the poster behind me, this is possibly my favorite movie. It's a toss-up between this and Highlander and The Sound of Music for me.
Because they all fit so neatly into the same basket.
Yeah, it's so hard to decide. So Back to the Future, coming back to the cinema. I don't know what sort of restoration they would do on a film like this, Keith, to prepare it for those formats. But what would you advise are the plus points, the draws to seeing a movie this old from our formative years in that kind of way in a 21st century theatre?
Oh, do it. Anyway, I will 100% be there for this, just like I was for Jaws last night. You know, the big screen, regardless of home media, which obviously, you know, I'm an advocate of as a collector's medium. But regardless of that, the place to see these movies is on the big screen. Don't care what anyone says. Yeah. The cinema, I don't care if it's unpopular now. The cinema is the place to experience this stuff. And this will be absolutely friggin' awesome on the cinemas, on the big screen.
It'll be fantastic.
I will be there despite the fact I've seen it millions of times. I don't care. I will be going back in time, literally, to see it again.
Because obviously the clue is in the name. Your YouTube channel is called Home Media Minefields. You're a big advocate of home media, which has expanded the screen sizes alone so much in the last 15 years, but there are still things that are worth going to the cinema for.
Oh, the one thing that you can't replicate at home, especially in the really nice theaters nowadays, is the sound system. No matter how good a sound system you have at home, you cannot replicate a really good sound system. And I experienced a really good sound system when I was in Australia recently at Hoyt Cinemas. And then when I was in London a couple of years ago, I went to some good theaters there, and I actually saw the Back to the Future what is it, the live musical version there.
Oh yeah.
And that was that was great to see. But this is a perfect movie that you should see in the theater, and they're going to be doing some limited IMAX ones. And if you can tell all the popcorn buckets behind me, what they've been doing here in the States, they've been releasing limited popcorn buckets, not just with the hot movies coming out, but with some of these limited releases like they have with Jaws. And I just recently went to go see on a limited anniversary screening, I went to go see the 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was in Vegas a couple of weekends ago, and that was great. Right. But this is the type of movie you need to see in the theater, because there's a lot of people in our generation that have kids that have not seen this movie on the big screen, and this is an iconic movie that you should see on the big screen, especially in the nicest theater possible.
Agree.
You know, I forced my children to watch this.
It's like the perfect movie.
Yep.
Literally,
it really is. It really is
the perfect film. Yeah.
And I do want to.
My children watch this, whether they wanted to or not, and so of course they love it. But they didn't really have a say in the matter. I indoctrinated them, Gary.
This is great. Education. This is my thoughts on this. Is first of all, this is a great poster.
Yeah.
Second is I would like to think that the theaters showing this would either give like half price or free to anybody who's come dressed fully in their 80s gear. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like pack the theater with people dressed dressed like the 80s. Also, I want to say my 2 degrees of separation from this movie is that I used to go to the movies all the time at the mall, the Puente Hills Mall that they filmed, which was Twin Pines Mall. The movie theater was just under the overpass. It was all one big mall that kind of spanned a freeway, but it was the Penny's parking lot. On the other side of it was the Puente Hills 6, where I used to go to the movies quite a lot.
You've told me a lot of cool things over the last couple of years, but that's probably the coolest so far.
Anyone a fan of the TED TV series at all?
It was
Yeah.
okay. It was okay.
Well, this opening school where they go to school, that was the same area at the famous clock shot on the same lot. They've been
Oh,
using
yes,
that,
I remember.
redressing it
that
all the
makes sense.
time.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
Yeah,
that
it's
totally makes sense. The
So
best
much
screening
fun.
I've ever seen of this was in my local my local block. We got together and we did a block party, and we projected on the wall of one of the houses with it was a good. It wasn't great sound system, but we had a block picnic. It was like the end of the summer, and it is a very unifying movie.
So Dan,
everybody can sit down together and watch. So I adore this movie.
Dan, we celebrated the 35th anniversary of Back to the Future 3 here on the Fandom Podcast Network for Time Warp. We do a podcast monthly about an entire year of movies. So I did a full rewatch of this trilogy, and I would still go back and watch this original one. But I got a hot take here, though. I actually like the second one the best. That one's my favorite because I love Biff Tannen in that movie.
Yeah,
I love the second one as well.
You know, actually, my favorite, I got to say that since you opened the door, Kevin, my favorite scene in that, because I thought, being like a comics fan and used to the multiverse and parallel worlds and stuff from growing up with comics, when he explains the concept of split timelines on the chalkboard, I thought that was pure genius. I thought for such a concept which people would just turn off, that was the easiest and most simple and perfect explanation of divergent timelines I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
Back to the Future coming back to the cinema over the next couple of months all over the world with these prestige celebratory screenings. You've sort of talked me into going. I own multiple copies of this.
It doesn't matter. See it in the big screen, Dan.
Yeah, I agree. It's a big screen movie.
If you claim to be this one of your favorite movies, you got to have the bragging rights of saying I saw the anniversary edition.
I gotta see it.
I saw it twice when it first came out, and then in 1990 I saw it in a double bill with the second one just before the third one came out. But I haven't seen it in the cinema for over 30 years.
It's so important for the industry to get people back to the cinema. I mean, it really is. I know that's a whole nother topic, but
okay. You know what Amazon should do? Amazon, if they want to develop their brand, they should buy a cinema chain and they should put their catalog of MGM movies in there. They put different things out a week, right? Just good movies, good old movies, and make them free if you belong to Amazon Prime. There's $2 if you don't, and they make money in concessions anyway. Right? Get people liking to go.
How many Netflix films have you seen going, I wish I could have seen that in the big screen?
Very few.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough.
Irishman.
I went to the premiere of the Thursday Murder Club in Leicester Square, and again, I know it's on Netflix. I love Leicester Square, but I felt so blessed to see it on the big screen, and it was just so entertaining, and I was like, this is the way to watch stuff.
Keith, I've got to tell you,
I'll watch it another time.
I've actually got to chime in, Keith. I totally agree with you because I just watched it last night. My first thought when it was over is I would have gone to the theater to watch this. And I actually sent Dan a PM saying this one is, because we talked about it on Thursday. I told Dan, I said, this one's great. You got to watch it. It's terrific.
Well, as I said, I was lucky because it was a premiere, so they were all there, and it was a packed cinema. But that is, again, if you've got a packed cinema with an audience that actually care about the movie, that's
the key, isn't it? If there's a bunch of people, a few hundred people who are all there, they've turned up to have a good time.
It's amazing.
They're watching it in good faith. And there's a sense that communal sense about it. I think it makes a lot of difference. I love watching stuff at home as well. I've got multiple copies of Back to the Future. I told myself I bought it for the last time. I may have to eat my words because this was announced this week.
Already pre-ordered.
I've got mixed feelings about this, Chris, and I wanted to hear what you've got to say about it in particular. Being the guy we've talked about so much about these boutique releases and how you say the big studios, you tend to stay clear of what they're doing. But this is a serious campaign to chime in with that 40th anniversary in the cinema, there's also this program of special editions of the 3 films on 4K Ultra HD. You get the Blu-rays as well and the digital versions too. So I gather you saw this announcement. There's a huge gift set, individual releases for all of the 3 films with lots of bumps sort of put in with them. These work out at £50 for each one in Britain. And even though I love these films, sincerely, they're some of my favorites. I can't justify 50 quid a film for bits of tat I'll never take out of a box. But they look so beautiful. You say you've ordered them?
Yeah, well, there's the really expensive release, which that one is I think that's already out of stock, or is it? Yeah, there's a basic release, which is the one that I ordered. Same transfers, just doesn't have all the extra crap. I have to because they released these I think back in 2019 originally. At that point, I wasn't upgrading. Okay. I had to look and see if these are new transfers, but apparently those were amazing transfers. So I'm assuming it might be the same one.
They were. The thing is, because it was, I did an unboxing and a review of the special edition that was released in 2020, which was 4K version with a lot of bonus and all of that, and it's great. And it's kind of annoying when they re-release things like this, but I understand why they do it, because doing those new transfers is a costly process. You know what I mean? So they've got to make their money back. So
the thing that, being a physical media collector, this scratches a little bit of an itch. I'm still on the fence about it, but what's very clever about it, I'm also into the packaging as well. And I like the fact that they have each of the individual movies with a different color tone. But what I've known going forward, though, is that even though I've got 2 4K players, I've got like 4 or 5 different multi-region Blu-ray players. And what sells me is that when you have the 4K and the Blu-ray and the digital copy, I think that is a huge extra bonus. If you just do the 4K, I'm kind of out. And then when you have all these other little specs and notes and all that kind of stuff, that one there is intriguing to me. And what I'll probably do is just end up selling an older Blu-ray trilogy that I have, and I might settle on that one there. Especially the Jaws 19 poster. Come on.
I have the 30th anniversary Blu-ray that came out, but it took me a while, but I've now kind of been turned over to 4K. So I'm eating my own words, because I finally got a decent Blu-ray player. I got rid of my LG, which was a piece of junk. Got the Sony X800, and the difference is night and day. And what finally turned me over is what some of the boutique labels are doing, specifically Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow Video. I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, the Arrow release. It is one of the most amazing transfers I've ever seen. Like, I was completely blown away. So I am now doing what I said I wouldn't do, and I'm upgrading some of my favorite movies to 4K. Although I did find the Scream Factory release of Killer Clowns from Outer Space in the bargain bin at Walmart yesterday with the slipcover. So I got that.
I love the Arrow store, and they have a lot of good stuff that I go to as well.
Absolutely, because you get all of these retrospective extra features, and you get film.
I just bought their 1986 Cobra with Stallone, and they had the rare TV broadcast version, which had some scenes put into it that was never in the original film.
I might get that if it goes on their Shocktober sale. I've got the Scream Factory release from, I think it was like 2018. But I did just one of the things that I'm upgrading is I just ordered the Arrow version of the Child's Play movies, the Chucky set, where all but the first of them are in 4K. And then I got just the Scream Factory 4K of the first movie. And that's my big upgrade. Although I actually got it for like $150 Canadian for 7 movies, 4 of which are 4K. And the set looks awesome, and it's less than half of what you'd pay for the equivalent Scream Factory releases. So that's my big Halloween purchase.
Oh, actually, that Cobra. What are you talking the? You're talking the Arrow version, yeah, the Arrow.
Yeah, the 4K one, yeah.
Yeah, that looks. Oh, that looks very nice.
And it also has a reversible cover. It has a new art, some artist rendition of Cobra. It has a picture of a cutting pizza, and it's got a cool fold-out poster of the original poster and the new artist rendition as well. And we just did a Couch Potato Theater on the Fandom Podcast Network, and I'll just tell you, there was some pizza cutting. Letting you know right now.
Wow! And Kim Newman's done a new commentary for it. Looking at this,
yeah, you know, if you don't have, if you're watching and you don't have Back to the Future on 4K, it's worth getting, because I mean, I got this Ultimate Trilogy. I think this came out last year. The difference between a regular Blu-ray and what they did to these movies on 4K is like a revelation. This is like amazing. So, in whatever version, try to get this trilogy on 4K.
And those Blu-rays didn't look bad either. Like, it was.
Looks like I've got to buy these again.
Do it.
The thing is, even though the price did put me off, how much? Well, I think that was my initial shock at seeing all the steelbooks. I'm not really a steelbook guy. What I like about this, I've read through all the information, and there's a feature-length documentary and all sorts of nice stuff that I will watch on these. What I like about it is, in the program of releases, there does seem to be something for everyone. In the same way that Arrow do this, don't they? They have big hard box editions of some movies, and then there could be a standard edition as well. But people who don't want the hard box, the extra disc, the booklet, who are happy to just have the film. And I think that with this Back to the Future program, there's at least 3 or 4 different options whereby it will be something for me. It was the price tags that always put me off. I mean, they're all getting in on this. I saw this week too for Return of the Swamp Thing. You know, trashy film here.
Heather Locklear,
from the 90s with Heather Locklear in, and even that's got all the posters and the postcard and all this sort of, for a movie like, you know, this film, it is what it is, isn't it? It's fine, but I thought, wow, even they are doing it for films that people didn't even like then. And then I saw this reveal too. A huge box set of an actual sort of life-size pumpkin, which houses 5 steelbooks of the original first 5 Halloween movies. And Matt Pott sent me a message about this, and he says $500 Australian for this thing. And it's somewhat of a monstrosity, even though the steelbooks are quite pretty, but the price tag.
I think this is why streaming or buying it digitally is
no. I want my. Whoa, Rabbi.
The wrong crowd, Rabbi.
If you want it 4K.
Well, Rabbi, here's what I'll say about this. The Halloween movies, I think they've probably had more releases since the dawn of Blu-ray than probably any other franchise. You can get the really cheap studio versions. Actually, if you get the studio version of Halloween 2, it's got a feature-length documentary with Donald Pleasance that you have to pay like $50 if you want to get it separately. Why can't I remember the name of it now? But no, it's... Scream Factory put these out on 4K back in 2021. They were Canadian, I think like $35 each from what I remember. I got the first 5. Then the 6 H2O and that the god awful thing they put out in 2002, which I won't even name by name because it's awful. That was like $175. But yeah, I this will be a pass for me. I'm perfectly happy with my hard box releases from Scream Factory, and you can still get them just without the box. Or Rabbi, if you just want them, you can get the studio releases for like $5 each.
Yeah, I mean, okay, but I got that's really cheap, $5. But I was just looking at Back to the Future on iTunes to see if it was on 4K and how much it was. You get all 3 movies. And an insane amount of extras for $25. So I was like, I mean, like, it's just I just bought Mission Impossible 7 and 8 on iTunes for that reason. And what I do is I legally download them so I own them in case they decide to turn them off. Right, that's my only fear. Right, and then so I don't have a box on my shelf that I don't go to ever.
But
right,
I like
my boxes of physical media. I never go to them anymore.
Rabbi, I'll put it this way.
Old and antiquated.
It's the collector's medium, though.
Yeah,
it is the collector's
I'm not bugged. I'm knocking that on it for anywhere at all. I collect comics, and people collect whatever they collect. It's groovy. I get 100%. I'm just saying the market is getting its legs pulled out from it by a new medium because it's cheaper. That's all it is.
I've just ordered Cobra while you've been talking. I have just ordered Cobra 4K Arrow version on the way with the. I was sold by Kevin.
They do look gorgeous. I can't argue with it.
I remember at the dawn of DVD, Kev, I bought several and imported several American editions of DVDs in sort of exclusive, unwieldy packaging simply because I thought they were cool. I think I probably would have been a mark for something almost as ridiculous as this pumpkin set. Like I bought a Basic Instinct set where it was the disc itself was sort of housed in what looked like
Did you get the one with the ice pick?
Yes, it got an ice pick with it. So I've got that. Yeah. I've got the Total Recall one that came in an orange tin that was shaped like Mars.
I remember that one.
I had that one.
Have you got the Planet of the Apes head? I've got
that's
the one I want.
That's where I drew the line.
I've got it. It's awesome.
No,
I've actually been trying to find that Alien collection of DVDs. It came from
the egg
UK that has the big xenomorph head, and you pop open
the top.
Yeah,
that's gorgeous.
That's the one I don't have, but I have that one too. But that's the one I have. And then my wife has one, and now it's mine because we're married. Is the one with just the egg and then the aliens on it. Yeah. She has that one as well. So,
I got a question. Really did anybody have it was Region 1, one of the Terminator 2 releases where it ended up being pulled off the shelves because it was made of actual metal and it was cutting people?
I remember the
yes, I've got that. Yes, I do have that. Yeah,
I know what you're talking about.
It was a really sort of sharp slip case.
Oh, wait a minute. Why have all you physical media guys on? What? I was trying to work out what was wrong when I bought Mission Impossible, right? And I was like, I realized the true motion thing was on my TV. Yeah, who had the idea of putting that onto it? Like, how does anybody think that looks better?
Well, you know, they did it.
Turn it off. They turn it off.
Showrooms. To turn it off, you got to go for like 58 menus. Yeah. It's like Lawnmower Man trying to get out. Like it's a nightmare.
It's easier on the eye.
I don't want to knock Imprint because I have a couple of the Imprint sets. I have the UFO Complete Series and I have the I Dream of Jeannie Complete Series. Their stuff is quality, but it's, as Keith said, it's really for the collector's market. I know that they're coming out with a Kolchak Complete Series, which is basically just the international version of the Kino Lorber one that they just released. So I'm not going to rebuy it. But
I've got the House of Horror by Imprint, which is great, and Breakdown. Breakdown is great.
So I mean, they do quality stuff, but I mean, Matt and I were talking about this yesterday because I was curious about how much this translated to in US dollars, and it was like $325 US. I don't even want to begin to think about what the shipping would be from Australia for this set from Australia to the US. That would probably be about another like $125.
It's all about the packaging too. And if the packaging holds up and stands, like, I'm a huge Star Trek, especially Next Generation fan, and I bought all those new Blu-rays when they came out, but I still keep the original silver cases here. Because a lot of them started coming with this little special DVD in them that you couldn't get anywhere else, with like some special features and interviews, and plus it looks really sharp on the shelf. And podcasting about Star Trek, I've had to go to those because since when they re-released the stuff on was it Paramount Plus, there's been some like mistakes of people caught in the background and other things that they've taken out that you can still see on those DVDs.
I thought I was the only one that kept those.
You want all the you're like me. I'm the same. I want to collect them, but I want every single extra feature and documentary that they do. And if they do something that's got a special bonus disc,
that's the really annoying. That's the really annoying thing, Keith, about Next Gen is because, and Kevin, I'm sure knows this, over here in the US, I don't have these. I think they did this for Next Gen and Deep Space Nine. They had the Best Buy specific discs that you had to get that had like one feature on it, but it was specific to Best Buy, and you can't find them on eBay now, and they're like ultra rare.
I have some of those.
But again, going back to what we were saying about the
Yep, those.
Cost of producing
Those.
Yeah,
Can't get those very much anymore.
No.
Well,
going back to what we were saying about the cost of producing the remastered versions and stuff, the reason Deep Space Nine and Voyager have not been released as a Blu-ray set is because the expense that it cost them to do that for next gen was so, it cost them so much that they actually failed to make any profit despite the fact that it sold well, because the post-print
however, I have to counter
and they
it
released a couple of to promote that Blu-ray and those releases. They would actually release in the theater for one night only some of the two-parters. I saw Best of Both Worlds in the theater.
Yeah.
The thing is this, though. I actually have an AI upgraded entire season of Deep Space Nine, upscale to 1080, and I could do it back to back with a Netflix, which is, and it look. I'm like, I go, why don't they just do this on Netflix? Why don't they just put this on disc? It's perfect.
Here's the quickest way to make yourself cry if you're a Star Trek fan. The fact that they could take the budget and all the money that they sunk into Section 31, and they could have remastered all of Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
You're 100% correct.
Well, I also one of the arguments with against putting DS9 and Voyager is after season 3, all the effects were for DS9 were CG, and they were always CG.
That's right.
Voyager.
They'd have to rebuild it.
Well, I would say do what they did with Babylon 5, because nobody liked Babylon 5 for the effects, even for the time they were awful.
Yeah, but they upgraded all those recently as well.
Yeah,
with the changing climate of streaming and stuff falling off streaming channels, you're expecting to be there. When I see a film that I like that is streaming and I know it's not coming to physical media, I'm sorry, but I will go to China and Indonesia on eBay, because they've been doing some great bootleg versions of them, just so I can have that physical copy of that. And I don't, I'm not going to apologize for it.
No, Kevin, I actually have a rule.
You're not the only one who does that. I know several people who, I've never done it myself, but I know a lot of people who do.
I have a rule.
They've been doing really good copies too. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I have a rule when it comes to watching movies. I will watch original series on streaming, like the 5 that are actually good. I will watch specific made for streaming movies. But my rule is, whether I have it or not, I will not watch a movie on any streaming service if I know it's available on physical media. It might sound OCD, but it's like, this is I want to support physical media.
There's a reason it might sound that way.
The way of filtering. Yeah.
Me too.
It's like, if I really want to watch this, like, I'll go to Amazon, and a lot of Blu-rays, early Blu-rays, you can now get for like $5, especially if they've come out. Like, I will buy the Blu-ray. I don't like watching something that I know I can have physically on streaming, which is the exact opposite of Rabbi, but I'm completely.
I know, like we are in a different universe.
Exactly.
What I do with physical media is I rip them to a hard drive and then I stream them wherever I am. But like literally, like all my Doctor Who, everything's just ripped to a hard drive.
I think it's different strokes for different folks. There are people who live and they're constantly on the move, and they watch stuff on portable devices, and I find that unimaginable. But that's how sometimes it's a necessity, sometimes that's how they choose to live, and it's whatever, I suppose it's whatever puts a smile on your face and keeps it there when you're in front of the screen. The Back to the Future question, I'm still wondering if I can. Yeah, I may go to the cinema. I may rope together a few people.
Dan, I never go to. I'm going to see it. I'll be
about it. Just go.
But I'm happy.
Yeah, he's right.
I will go drag you out of your house to get you to that movie. I will.
It's just a segue, guys. It's just a segue. I'm not being desperately serious. So I don't know whether I'm going to go see Back to the Future or not. Just go with it. But let me know in the comment section what you're doing as Back to the Future approaches that 40th anniversary. Expect more coverage of this fantastic trilogy from us at the Spacebook Live later in the year. And as the DeLorean sort of shoots off for the time being, at least, there is a black Trans Am that seems to be on the way back, sort of. So the classic 80s TV series. This is perennially popular, this thing, constantly being sort of rediscovered and repeated and re-released. It seems it's due for yet another of its many reinventions, I suppose. This time it's going to be from the creators of Cobra Kai. That's these three guys, John Hurwitz, Hayden Schlossberg, and John Held. They are planning to take Knight Rider by the scruff of the leather jacket, I suppose, and drag it to the big screen this time. They're in early talks, it says here, on Hollywood Reporter to write it. With the latter two, Hurwitz and Schlossberg, they're in talks, early talks to direct. So Cobra Kai, huge show, probably my favorite show of the last 7 or 8 years. Extraordinary. Just as much care was taken in building some new characters that we could all invest in. Even kids who weren't irritating, they did it brilliantly, as well as sort of retooling those legacy characters from the original movies. Fantastic stuff. The idea that these guys, this same trio, could get hold of Knight Rider, which I'll admit I wasn't a huge fan of, but I'm warming towards. I'm really excited about the prospect of this. So I was wondering who had heard about it. Are there any big Knight Rider fans on the panel? I've seen as Keith is brandishing something. I'll take that as a yes. And what do you think? Could Knight Rider make a good movie? Let's see what is this? A Playmobil?
Yes. So
Wow.
I always tell people that the first toy that I ever had was Star Wars figures, right? But my mum has actually corrected me on that. Apparently, when I was very young, I had Playmobil. I had like workmen and policemen and all this sort of thing. So when I saw that Playmobil had done a Knight Rider kit, and it actually has the voice, the scanner, the figures, everything, I thought, you know what? I'm going to get that. So there you go. Knight Rider Playmobil.
Wow.
So you're a fan, and what have you got there, Kev? Because this must be one of a multitude of releases for this series over the years.
Are a lot.
Yeah, this is the DVD release. It's a kind of a recent one. I upgraded from the last one they have here because the other one was like extra thick. And I actually went down to Universal Studios when Knight Rider was big, and they actually had a real kit car that you would wait in line and you would get into it. And it was only during certain times of the day because the gentleman who actually does the voice for Kit was there doing the voice as Kit when you sat in, and there was like a little camera somewhere. He could tell what you were wearing.
Well,
so
he was Dr. Greg from St.
William Daniels.
And I actually joined the Knight Rider fan club, and I remember I was so excited because they sent me the blueprints and diagram of Kit. And different, you could see the different sides of it, and all. It would show like the weapons and the buttons and stuff like that. So yeah, Knight Rider was a big deal for me. I love Knight Rider, and I was a big fan of was Edward Mulhare there because he was also in one of my favorite movies, Megaforce.
Oh yeah, Megaforce. I remember that.
And didn't they just now release this onto Blu-ray? Didn't I see like something?
They've released it on 4K.
4K.
It's actually on 4K. Yeah. They just released.
Just don't mess up the car. I mean, just stick with the regular car. Let it be retro. People love old cars and will drive them around. Don't try to sell me on some like new 2025 version of some type of car. Don't mess up the car.
They've
please.
tried that, haven't they?
The car needs to be black. Don't go for rainbow.
It should be the same model, the same
black
year.
Car with a red light. Okay?
You know what, Kev? I agree with you. I liked that retooled series they did about 10, 15 years ago. I thought that was a lot of fun. But realistically, doing this again, they do need to get back to the Trans Am. I'm not even a big Knight Rider fan. I'm not even really a car guy, but they have to do that. Do whatever they like to the insides, but I agree. I think the outside has to look like almost like a classic car, I suppose. And that would be the hook that I would actually hang it on. I wouldn't set it in the 80s. I'd set it now, but I would have
the big thing that made
car.
The big thing, Dan, that made Cobra Kai so successful was they brought everyone back, and they have a new generation. You got to bring back Hasselhoff. If he has a son, fine.
Oh yeah.
You know, you need to keep that going.
In a very credible way.
Yeah.
You know what they could do? They could essentially have Knight Rider get caught in some kind of like suspended animation trap, and he's stuck there until present day. right? And then you get a fish out of water, and it kind of you can do stuff like that.
A modern day version
like
of
that.
Adam Adamant, but with the guy from the past being from the 80s, living in the 2020s. The original show ran for 5 seasons, from 82 through to 86. It was on television in Britain. It was on all the time.
Yeah.
But it was an ITV show, and I was a BBC kid, and I never watched it. I think it was on at the same time as Top of the Pops or something that I liked. So I just never saw it. Now, I think we did it for myself and Ian Diaz and Andy. We did an episode of the Spacebook listed about
I was
it,
on that.
where we watched the pilot. Are you on it too?
Yeah.
And I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. And I've been looking to get it since on physical media. So it could well be that this latest release that's coming out, which I do have coming up later on, I may well go for that. But when I saw this and heard who was doing it, I thought, first of all, similar to you guys, there's several ways they could take it. Don't know which one they're going to choose, but I think I'd be fairly excited about whichever one it was, you know?
Well, yeah, if you have the Cobra Kai guys, you know that, and I, like you, Dan, I was never an aficionado of this when it was on, but the Cobra Kai guys, they're about respecting the legacy, honoring the legacy, not doing some bizarro reformat. I'm actually thinking the idea that springs to my head is you take a note from the Buck Rogers TV series, and you have the 80s version of Hasselhoff gets stuck in the car, and like the AC goes wrong, so he's frozen in the car. He's frozen in the car for 40 years, and then they finally fix the AC, and then he and Kip come out.
I like the idea that it's something
and there you go.
I want to see. You've sold me.
I like the idea that it's something goofy rather than something really sci-fi that would do that in the way that the rabbi said earlier on. I think that's fun. I also think that David Hasselhoff should be there, somewhere, somehow. And again, don't rip the piss out of him either. Treat this man with a bit of respect would also be my advice. Yeah. In the same way, Kev, they treated William Zabka and Ralph Macchio and everybody else. They've treated every character and every actor who's got involved with Cobra Kai with a great deal of dignity and given them good stuff to do, unexpected stuff. Do that for Michael Knight and build some new world and characters around him in 100 minutes. There's got to be somebody younger. Of course there has. And there's got to be a young hero. There's got to be some bird. He can try, he's trying to slip her one, all that sort of stuff. Have all that going on, but it should be part of the legacy to some extent.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah,
I've never watched Knight Rider. Yes, I know it's. I know. I will watch it. I will.
I hadn't either.
I
hadn't until
I am going to at some point. But one thing that I like about David Hasselhoff, I know him from Baywatch. Everybody watched Baywatch, whether they will admit to or not. But what I like about him is he doesn't take himself too seriously. I think he could do maybe a little bit of comedy with this. I'll reference, if you haven't seen Piranha 3DD, and yes, Rabbi, it's as naughty as it sounds.
I saw that,
and then some. But it's he kind of did what Nicolas Cage was doing for a while, where he kind of played into the meme because there's with both these actors, there's some humor with them. And for those of you who don't know.
You could bring back the evil car and Goliath the truck. I mean, how cool would that be?
Bring them all back. Kev, bring them all back. Multiple movies, please.
Yes.
And David Hasselhoff,
with Night automated roving
robot,
not Ranger.
No,
robot.
And David Hasselhoff. Don't forget, David Hasselhoff was the first live action Nick Fury.
Yes, I remember that as well.
Sam Jackson,
and I think he needs to graduate to that kind of role.
Michael Knight was very nearly played by Don Johnson. Very before he got Miami Vice. Yeah, it was the network.
Imagine.
The network didn't. Glenn Larson wanted Don Johnson. The network didn't. So Don Johnson got that. But then obviously his next gig was Miami Vice, which was fucking awesome. So
it was not. I was not sure because I didn't follow the career of the 3 Cobra Kai guys until they did Cobra Kai. Karate Kid, it's another one. It's in my sort of top 5 movies. Now, I love this thing. I wasn't sure what they'd done before. It turns out they were behind the really sort of inventive nostalgia-based comedy, Hot Tub Time Machine, back in 2010. So that I can see the connective tissue between that and between Cobra Kai and this sort of warm, nostalgic kind of modern sort of Beavis and Butthead kind of humor in some of the corners. I see where all of it plays in somewhere, but it's always sort of grounded in that affection and respect for the source material. Anybody who's not currently with us, of course, in the case of Pat Morita, it was Karate Kid. When it comes to Knight Rider, it's probably this guy, Glenn Larson, who passed away in 2014, to take the spirit of not just Knight Rider, but all the shows that he made, because there was very much a house style, I feel. So the kind of television that he put together that really did make the 80s very colourful, particularly for kids.
He headed up Battlestar Galactica too. You know?
That's right.
Yeah. And BJ and the Bear, which you put up earlier.
There you go.
And Sheriff Lobo.
People aren't recoiling at the thought of a movie of Knight Rider. Has a tide changed, or do you just have faith in these particular three creatives, Ken?
It's faith in the creators, because it's faith in the creators, because the creators proved. You have to understand too, what people have been trying to do for many, many years, bringing movies to TV or TV, redoing TV shows, is that you really have to pay attention to the source. How many times did we complain about the sequel trilogy not paying love to the original source, or all these other sequels and remakes not paying enough attention to the source material? And that's exactly what the creators did with Cobra Kai. They made.
I thought the sequels paid way too much attention to the source.
Well, you get what I'm saying, though, is that it's how you respect what came before, where you felt like in the sequel trilogy.
There was no respect.
Exactly. But the guys of Cobra Kai respected the source material. They went back and got everyone they could get. And on top of that, Pat Morita, who passed away, how much love did they show that character and reverence of that character throughout the entire 5 or 6 seasons of Cobra Kai?
David Hasselhoff is well into his 70s now. I know that he's had his health problems too, but lives quite a colourful and fast life. I hope that I've got half the energy that man seems to have, Gary. I do. I like him. I love the car now. I wasn't bothered then, but I'm sort of all on board for this. I can't wait to see what they do with it. I haven't got a clue really which direction they'll take, and I think that's what excites me about it. I think the idea is still a winner, probably in the age of AI, any kind of artificial intelligence. Artificial sentience, it's actually probably a better sell now even than it could have been then. So I'm gonna get on this, and I may well take a punt on this 4K box set here. I like how they've deliberately sort of made it so you can see through the windscreen and make out David Hasselhoff, and he gets top billing above the logo. But apparently they've done a beautiful job of remastering these this time. So it could be, this could be the one for me to get to finally become a Knight Rider fan. And who knows, Keith, I may end up with my own Playmobil car by the time the movie comes out. We've got no date on this yet. And all we know is that they're planning on writing it, planning on directing it. You know what these things are like. It could all go tits up. But let's hope that Knight Rider does come back to the big screen. And I think this could be a lot of fun. I'd be completely and utterly down for that. And it seems that judgment of the panel here, nobody seems that offended by the idea. Let us know what you think in the comments. As always, all opinions are welcome. Maybe it was your favorite show when you were a kid. You can't bear the thought of anyone, whoever they are, whatever they've done, getting a hold of it. There's no wrong answers. We won't throw you out for that. Let us know what you think by all means. Who have we got? What have we got? Let's have a look. Actually, let's have a blast of him, because somebody's mentioned this.
Is everybody happy?
Endlich ist es da!
We're flying on the wings of tenderness.
Das neue Hitalbum von Superstar David Hasselhoff. Das einzig Neue.
I've been looking for freedom.
David Hasselhoff, Looking for Freedom. Das einzig neue Hitalbum von Ariola.
Yes, welcome back to the Spacebook Live. What do you make of the Knight Rider news, everybody? Let's have a look and see what people have got to say about it. Any big Knight Rider fans?
It's funny you show that video of those old Hasselhoff things. I don't know if you guys noticed, but also it's the 35th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, and who was there right front and center singing. Yeah.
That made the news in Britain, the evening news. We all got that played to us, and we couldn't quite believe it because his albums, they certainly weren't selling in Britain. I don't know how well. Apparently they're doing brilliant everywhere else.
Germany, it was big in.
I'm just hoping we get next up is the 4K of Baywatch Nights, where he's fighting vampires.
Oh God,
I hope that's coming soon.
Okay. If you want the best Baywatch show, again, you have to go to a streaming service, Hulu in America, Disney Plus around the world. It's Pam and Tommy, right? The docudrama of it's brilliant. It is so good.
That's the one with the talking Wang.
Yes.
Okay.
And
we mentioned that most weeks, don't we?
Is perfect as Tommy Lee. And what's the name? From Downton Abbey. And is everything now. She's fantastic as Pam Ranston, and it's very rude. And I'm saying that
Lily James.
Oh god, she's unrecognizable. It's really annoying that she's that beautiful and talented.
Yeah,
right. Nobody else could really have pulled off that role because she's like wearing these huge prosthetic tits, from which and she carries them off very well. I don't know that. I'm just very impressed with the whole thing. But she's clearly a very talented actress at the same time as being super hot.
Peter Harrington reminds us that Samantha Fox was also big in Germany. She was big everywhere. Still is.
Please. I'm only flesh and blood. No, stop.
And people have been joining in. I feel that they may have gone off to perform in about their own homes versions of that David Hasselhoff track, because lots of people are actually quoting the lyrics in the live chat. I didn't see that one coming, but happy to help as always here at the Spacebook Live.
Got any dirty videos? Bet you haven't seen this. The Scotch Video Head Cleaner. It cleans up dirty pictures caused by dirty video recording heads. Oh, glory. Look at that bone structure.
And we're back in the bonket, as I'm going to call it, aboard. This is the small branch of Little Chef, which you'll find on the USS Spacebook. We've got the panel here too, ready to lower ourselves in to another episode of our Umbrella series here, where we're reviewing one big streaming show that started about 3 weeks ago now and does seem to be quite widely watched and talked about. Now, I do know what some of the guys on the panel think about it so far, because we've been going through it bit by bit and baring our teeth, baring our souls. But it's going to be interesting seeing what the rest of you got to say. Keith, I know you're a big Alien fan, and you were in Prometheus, weren't you? Albeit in the background somewhere.
You were.
Yeah, so no, I'm a big fan of the franchise, although I've always said the same thing. Other than the first two films, the rest of it has always been problematic for me, and that also includes even Alien Romulus that came out this time last year. Had a lot of problems with it. I thought there were some great sequences, etc., but the key jangling in it was just cringe, utter cringe, and I was like, oh, what are they doing? So I was excited for this. I actually stayed up. It dropped at 1 a.m. It always does. So every week I've been literally staying up and watching it the minute it drops live, because I'm that excited about it all. And I have to say, so far, I mean, we're at the halfway point now with this, and so far I've been very happy with this show. I like what I like about it is, yes, you've got an alien aesthetic. You've got more about the corporations, and of course you've got the xenomorph and obviously the face hugger and the egg and all of that stuff, chest burster. However, what I like is it's also tackling other things. So you've got these 4 other alien species, of which we've seen 3, and there's still 1 to be revealed at some point, which in this last episode was particularly nasty, I have to say, particularly
it's fantastic.
And you've also got this thing with the synthetics, which has always, again, been another staple of the franchise. And I do like the philosophical question that this whole thing is answering about what makes us human and, you know, what gives us a soul and all of this. And what I love is you've got obviously the, like, Timothy Oliphant is, you know, the full synthetic, like we're used to seeing with David and Walter and Ash and Bishop. You know, we've got that one. We've also got the cyborg in this, which again I think is a great idea, particularly where we're heading with medical science now about enhancements to sort of make us better and make us
some of it,
longer.
Keith, is timely without necessarily being on the nose or feeling like we're being taught any kind of lesson.
Exactly.
Whilst I agree with you, I think there's a lot of hard sci-fi cornerstones in there, some perennial themes of the Alien franchise. On the surface, this should work admirably, and I certainly think as a creative endeavor it's viable, and there's a lot of dignity in it. I think it's made to a very, very high standard. So I can't wait to hear what you've got to say about the episode this evening. So we've got Keith Hales joining us for the first time. Also joining us for the first time is Kevin here, Kevin Wrightsell. So you're also the other co-host of the Culture Clash podcast on the Fandom Podcast Network, amongst other things, aren't you? You've said you're a big Alien fan. You and your wife, both big Alien fans.
Yes.
You've got them about your person and on your person in some cases. So I can't wait to hear what you've got to say about it, because it clearly means a lot to you as well. And returning again, we have Chris Bowles, ranter extraordinaire. Where is he at with it this week? Because Chris was in a very similar place to me last week. We've got Gary Akers back as well. That could be a cap from the Nostromo, but it's not. But we'll pretend that it is for the purposes of doing this show. And the return of the Rabbi from Another Planet 2. I can't wait to hear what everybody's got to say about it as we continue our big Alien watch. Okay, so we return to the action after the 3rd episode. A much more modest and quiet chapter of the series so far. This series has been very long awaited. The idea of taking a franchise like this to television of any kind, never mind streaming. A lot of people were unsure, and it took a long time to get to us as well, but finally delivered by FX and Hulu. The lead creative is Noah Hawley. We've spoken about him a couple of times already, and Ridley Scott is in there as the executive producer. It's set a couple of years prior to the original Alien movie from 1979 that started it all off, as we've said before. And here's that quick recap. So when a mysterious deep space research vessel crash lands on Earth, Wendy and a ragtag of tactical soldiers make a fateful discovery that puts them face to face with the planet's greatest threat, mysterious life forms, more terrifying than anyone could have ever imagined. So there's not just the monsters and the jump scares, but there's also this idea of AI, of transferring actual human consciousness into artificial bodies. Lots of themes that Ridley Scott has played with before, and this gets even deeper in the 4th episode. It's lighter on action, but it's absolutely true to the blueprint, I think, set out by Noah Hawley on previous works. It's called Observation. This time it's directed by Olga Hochstetter. I probably mispronounced that entirely. Written by Noah Hawley and Bobak, another name I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to even try with that. And the byline for the 4th episode simply says an unexpected connection is formed while a covert plot puts everyone in danger. They say so little about it, don't they? Production standards remain high, but are the audience still engaged. You know, Gary, you were somewhere who were you were someone who was very much on the middle ground on the last edition of the show. You're still with us for episode 4. What are your observations now as we hit the halfway mark here? Now we've had this 4th episode. What did you make of this chapter?
Well, okay, just very quickly for the benefit of Keith and Kevin, I'm not as deep an aficionado as you guys. I actually jumped out after the 3rd movie and haven't watched anything since. So I was basically approaching this whole thing with kind of my memories of the first 3. And I do have to say that while I still don't really like any of the characters on this show, I do have to say that they are bringing up some interesting points. Far and away, I think that the Oculus monster, to me, is far scarier than the Xenomorph. I mean, that thing is like nightmare fuel.
Totally.
But I will say that while this episode, and again, I plan now to rewatch all 4 of them like together so I can get a bigger grasp of the first half of the story. While this episode doesn't really seem to move a lot of the narrative forward in a big way, it does make clear to me that no one at Prodigy has thought anything through. That is like screamingly clear at this point, to where all of the problems with all of the hybrids are coming out at once. I did like the fact that the Arthur character is asking explicit questions like, you know, are they human? Or are they did we just end up copying memories into synthetic bodies and to where we ended up just basically killing 6 kids? I'm glad they're making that explicit. I mean,
it's asking interesting questions, isn't it, Gary, and leaving us with concepts which I must admit that do play on my mind a little at times.
In the 2nd episode, right? They had the guy in charge of Prodigy basically said that's what they're doing. They're murdering children to create this new life form, so it's something interesting for him to talk to, right?
It's rich ground.
Was that?
It's rich ground, isn't it, Rabbi? Rich sci-fi ground.
No, it's so dark and immoral, but it's so fascinating at the same time. It really is. It's I'm loving every moment of this show, right? I am just this is my favorite hour of the week. I can't think of a show I've enjoyed as much as this for a long time, right? It's so I rewatched episode 3 on Friday and did a recap of episode 4 because you were telling me you're finding it like heavy going and just slow to get through. And so, look, my impression was from the first 2 episodes, then a third the way through episode 3, you had this like high octane aliens-like action movie, and I like how it's pulling aesthetically from the entire series. And it's it's written well enough that I
can't fault the production, Rabbi. I can't fault any of the production design of this, and the cast as well. I think they're all wonderful.
Yeah, but then again, at about 20 minutes into the 3rd episode, there's a definite energy, a vibe change where it goes into like this really hard, dark sci-fi, which is the sort of thing I love.
And that's what threw me. It was such a handbrake turn. It
really was a handbrake turn.
It for me, it didn't remotely work. It completely lost me. I felt almost like I was watching a completely different show.
I see. For me, I was carried through by the characters.
And everything. Well, that was my problem. And everything that I don't want to talk about last week's show because we talked about last week. But that was what threw me out of it. Everything and everyone that I was invested from those first 2 barely got a whisper of it last week, and so I didn't.
But they developed new threads. Like you got the.
They didn't. The problem is they didn't develop them anywhere near as roundedly. I think all the actors have been well cast. I think they're doing a good job, but because they were right in the first 2 episodes, they stuck largely with 3 or 4 characters they fleshed out really, really well. But in the 3rd one, I thought they were working on almost a dozen characters all at once, and I just couldn't keep up.
It wasn't a dozen characters. What happened was you needed to take a breath on the Wendy and her brother storyline because that kind of
not there. Late, an episode or two later, not there. Not when I'd waited 7 days to pick that up with them right away. Not there. I agree with you, but not there.
Like the first 20 minutes were focused on
nowhere near enough. For me, it was nowhere near enough. And,
but
they lost.
then,
They lost me.
like immediately they exit. You got the whole thing with Morrow and those two boys,
which was boring. Which was boring.
That wasn't boring at all. Okay, those performances were fantastic.
But unfortunately, there's nothing real about it. It's people speaking into thin air and talking in a very sort of intangible way about things that we couldn't possibly about things that we can't possibly experience.
No, that's totally not what's happening.
Mate, this is how I feel though. Whereas for me, the connection between a brother and a sister and a strange sibling and that yearning, that need to find them, that's very tangible. That's very relatable. And for me, that was the difference, and that's where they lost me.
Honestly, I found the manipulation between Morrow and was it Smee? I can't remember the different names of the
no, neither can I, and that's also a problem.
Cyborgs. It's
too many silly names.
Yeah. Okay. That's annoying. But what's the name of them? Not the cyborgs.
Hybrids.
Hybrids, right? So the idea of putting children into hyper intelligent adult bodies. Right, and now you got one being manipulated by this guy Morrow, and I don't understand. What is a cyborg exactly? Is there
Morrow is possibly my favorite character in this. The most intriguing factor about it.
Again,
they've cast him very, very well, and yet I'm even starting to lose interest in him too.
Again, people are different, I guess. But on top of all this stuff that I'm fascinated with, and I love, and to me it feels very endemic to what Alien is. You got this really great weird sci-fi horror stuff and alien stuff peppered all over it. You got the
I think it's a side. Well, Rabbi, I think it's a side to this universe. But I don't think the problem we've got and the what's going to upend this show unless it corrects itself fucking fast. That is not why people have turned up to watch this for 8 hours. For these kind of prolonged soul searches and explorations of these themes to this extent, slowly. That's not why people are here. It's called Alien Earth.
Yes,
I understand the alien, isn't it? But I wouldn't describe the dialogue as prolonged esoteric discussion. You do get a bit of that from what's his name, Timothy Oliphant, right? That's basically that would describe it. But the interaction between, I think it's there's the two kids who, the two boys, and Morrow. That's not that at all. That's so genuine, right? That's so genuine. What boys 8-year-old boys are hanging out with each other.
If Babu Sese wasn't so good as Morrow, that stuff wouldn't work because the other guy at the other end of it, he doesn't look like that. He doesn't look like he's experiencing what he's experiencing. I don't think he understands the material.
He's totally selling it to me.
I mean, as you can probably tell everybody,
when they're together.
Hang on, hold on. As you can probably tell everybody, I've really fallen out of love with this in the last 8 days. So I apologize if I'm sort of opening the can of whoop-ass on this episode a little. My patience is wearing seriously thin with this show, I have to say. Chris, where are you at with it?
Well, as you know, last week bored me to tears. And I was about ready to walk away. I will say this week wasn't as terrible, although that poor sheep, dear God, I Monster, whatever it's called, that is genuinely terrifying.
Yeah.
But my issue is the side story with the synth children or whatever you call them. That's not what I came here for. That's an entirely separate movie as far as I'm concerned. I want to see alien destruction. To me, it's one of the things I was concerned about with this series when I came into it, and this was before we watched it. I was worried we were going to see padding. I'm seeing a lot of padding. Yes, it needs to be there, but we don't need. Not a lot really happened this week other than terrorizing the poor sheep, and the eye monster scared me. Yes, the question as to whether or not they are human or still the same person is interesting, and I admitted that a few weeks ago. But that's That's not really why I'm here. I want it to be about the alien. I want to see, alien things happen. You only have 8 episodes, and 2 of them, nothing really happened other than talking. It had some creepy music at times, but this is, to me, like the first 2 weeks. I loved the first 2 weeks, and then it's like
Chris,
the whole thing.
You and I spoke last week a little about the nature of streaming shows, about how a lot of them kind of disappoint to one extent or another, or lose us. And I was thinking back to, even the Marvel shows like Daredevil, all that sort of stuff, how a lot of them, they lose me halfway through and then they kind of bring me back. I'm at the point, and I recognize the same pattern in this. And I do wonder if somebody ever comes up with an idea for a streaming show and goes to pitch it, okay, whatever they go into a pitch with and say, okay, it's a 10 episodes. Say, okay, great story, but give us the same story in 8. And if it's an 8-episode pitch, they should say to them, okay, bring it back to us in 5 or 6 episodes, because all of this shit has got far too much padding in it.
Yep.
I accept that there are people who, if you enjoy those themes, and if it just plays to something you're particularly interested in, I get it. I don't want to rob anybody of that. But my God, this is a serious chore to sit through. I was bored to tears. The 4th episode was possibly the worst one yet for me. I had to go back and watch multiple bits of it.
Honestly, rewatching episode 3, I found a joy. Right, like I couldn't get. Even though I'd seen it before, I couldn't stop it to get up to go and pee because I was so enraptured by it.
Frustrating.
This woman's story, I think, is so fascinating.
Well,
I'm glued to the screen. This is exactly the sort of TV I want to have.
But they're bringing yet another thing in bits and pieces here and there, like tapas. Maybe they could have broken it down to a different Lost Boy per episode, but serving this, it's just none of this is working. None of this works for me.
For me, it flows without a problem.
I accept it's a quality production, and I accept that they've made that this isn't by an accident or even negligence of any kind, but the choices that they've made just ain't working for me. Kevin, sorry to give it to you directly after that. Where are you with this? I've got no idea. Where are you at with the whole makeup of this series, and how did you feel about episode 4, Observation? What have you observed?
Okay. So I want to since I'm first time on here, I just want to give a little background. My wife and I are huge fans of Alien. She's got aliens in general, and she's got a big tattoo of the Alien Queen from the second film on her back. Our first date was watching the 2016 Prince Charles Theatre in London. We saw the 30th anniversary of Aliens, and so I knew we were on to something there. And we know she's more of the Alien franchise to her is more of the first one and the second one. She's not a fan of pretty much anything that's come after that. She was okay with Prometheus, but she kind of likes to live in that little pocket, which I get. And she thought Romulus was I enjoyed it more. There's a couple gripes I had about it. But when the series, we were both very excited about it. But what she's choosing to do is she's seen the first one, but she was very tired when she saw it. So she kind of like fell asleep, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to wait for it all to drop at once, and I'm going to marathon it that way. And what's interesting about it is that way we handle things here at the Fandom Podcast Network with these weekly podcasts about these weekly shows when it comes to Marvel, Star Wars, what have you. The one thing that I have noticed is that there's probably an episode that is going to go, what? It's going to lose some people. And, I hear your gripes completely, guys, especially you, Dan. I hear where you're coming from, especially with this particular episode. But I watched it 3 times and again 2 times. And again this morning when I knew I was going to come on here. There's some details in these particular episodes that tend to lose people that will resonate later when we get towards the end, especially little things with relationships and what we're learning about the lead's character, learning to understand the aliens. And it's interesting too. We want to see more alien stuff. We want to see xenomorphs. We want to see face huggers, and of course, the creepy eyeball octopus with the sheep scene was definitely like, whoa, challenging for like the creepiest alien of the full franchise. But what's interesting is I'm paying attention to the relationships here and trying to get a sense of what I think might happen, and I also get a feeling too of like it's. The problem with my wife that had with Romulus is that a lot of the characters were not likable, and that's what's having a problem with a lot of horror films lately too, is that you're not liking the characters. There's not the person that you like that wants to fight back and survive at the end, so that when they die, you're like, I don't care. Yep. And I'm struggling a little bit with that with this series. And it's like the thing that I'm noticing too in this particular episode is what's happening with the evil greed and what's happening with controlling people. And no, that's not your sister anymore. It's now product. And this is the thing that's kind of slowly bringing me into the world. And I'm putting up with these slower kind of episodes that aren't giving me everything that I want, because it is laying the eggs, so to speak, for what's going to happen. I hopefully will get a better payoff in the last half of these next four episodes. And I'm really enjoying the overall corporation of things, and how this is actually has to be the real story of the whole Alien franchise, because how many movies have we seen in other genres where it's just more of the same? There's no layer underneath of what's putting these people out in space, and you're not caring about who's doing what, as long as we get the end product. And I don't remember who said it recently on this pod, but I want to give you a shout out, because for the last 10 years, the movie Outland is definitely a semi-sequel or prequel to Alien.
Yes.
I've been telling people that for 10 years. There's an evil corporation that he has to get out there and police. And it's a corrupt corporation, and there's corrupt people behind it. And I feel like if I want to watch the whole Alien franchise, I'm watching Outland 1981.
Amen,
first.
brother. That was me. That was me.
Something I've really noticed about the show is it's. I mean, like, by going into the politics of it, you can see how this can end up with the Nostromo being repurposed to pick up an alien egg, crew expendable, because of the events of this show. But it strikes me you can have a second season and third season going on like parallel to the events of the first Alien, and you can go past that. There's so much scope here to keep moving on.
The thing that stood out to me is, one thing I've noticed is when people are really good at manipulating other people to get what they want. As I've gotten older, I've known that. And maybe it's not an action scene, maybe it's not a chest burster scene, but our resident hybrid with a metal arm who's slowly manipulating this child's mind to get his trust and to freaking get an egg into someone is one of the things.
It's really disturbing, right?
Yeah, it's really disturbing, but it's done really well. It's acted really well. And the fact that he can do that by like sitting in a crowded bar and know how to stroke the fires to where if he needs to and this kid's not going for it, he's going to threaten his freaking family.
Yeah. It's so good. By the way, the guy on screen right now is one of Britain's best loved comic.
Adrian Edmondson.
This guy was great.
We all grew up with him in The Young Ones, right? It's
awesome.
The dude with the mohawk, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
And it's so weird seeing him in this role.
Vivian the punk. Where are you at with this then, Keith? Because we're about to hit the halfway mark.
Yeah,
this is in many respects. I think whilst it's quietened down, I'm trying to get back to a happier place with it. I think it is still very cinematic in places. I think it has an unsettling feel, which is, I think that's what keeps me watching, because I think it is so nicely pointed. It's managing to hold me somehow in that way aesthetically. But what about you? This fourth episode, Observation. I mean, is this a deepening of it for you, or does it test your patience the way it does mine? Where are you with it?
No, I'm in camp Kevin and Rabbi in so much as I actually really love this. I have nitpicks, like I thought the brother accepted the fact that was his sister like way too quickly. They could have egged that out a bit. The other thing I had a bit of again, it's only a nitpick, but that like stun gun thing that Morrow had to stun the xenomorph, I sort of thought to myself, that would have come in really handy in later films, wouldn't it?
That was fascinating.
But I've got a theory, and I don't know, I might be totally off here, but I'm wondering if the next episode will actually be a flashback episode to show the space mission. And the reason I say that, hold on, Let me. Can I talk? Sorry. Let me explain.
No, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, I was agreeing with you.
Yeah, because the reason I say that is because in the first episode, I was delighted to see that Michael Smiley was part of the crew, and I'm like, oh wow, Michael Smiley's in this. This is great. Only to have like 2 lines and be killed, and I'm sort of like, what? So I'm wondering whether there's going to be the mid-episode in this is actually going to go back and show some of that stuff. I'm wondering, but also I've heard interviews with Noah Hawley about this, and his plan is to do several seasons of this. So the whole thing that Rabbi was saying earlier about,
I find that terrifying, Keith. I find that terrifying.
But no, I mean, I think the horror in this is proper horror. You know, like the thing with the sheep was just gross. You know, the stuff they're doing in this is just like proper sci-fi horror.
I can't fault all this stuff, Keith. This was this should have been the hardest stuff to do, to introduce new creatures into the alien universe, and they've done it brilliantly.
No, they have. And also the other thing I do like about this, and you know, it's the pole opposite of another sci-fi show that gets released weekly, which we won't go into, but the fact that this is at least asking philosophical questions about whether or not, you know, children, you know, having their conscience put into synthetic adult bodies is right. Yeah, it's asking that question. And this Boy Cavalier guy is a real piece of scum, you know, and I'm kind of loving this. And Adrian Edmondson, the way he did the whole corporate talk about, well, you know, your sister belongs to us, and if you want her back, then you know, you can't just quit, and you know, all of this sort of thing. So I love everything that this is doing at the moment. I just hope it sticks the landing. But so far, halfway through, I can't fault it so far.
I'm interested, Keith, in all of those themes, and what I do find refreshing in theory is that they're talking about things, the nature of human existence, the concept of a person's identity. You know, we're constantly fed very, very loud sort of dialogues and ideologies about identity in the 21st century, but it's a very particular kind of identity, looked from a very specific corner of the human experience quite often. This is something that's very broad, that I feel theoretically that I do feel that everyone could have a take on and be touched by it in some way at some part in their life when they consider their own mortality, because who hasn't done that? And yet it's still, unfortunately, it is losing me, but they are recurrent themes to a lot of science fiction, which I think they belong in Alien. They do. I don't think Alien is just a run around with monsters. I don't think it needs to be that way, but I do think that 4 episodes in, we should have had more of that than we have.
Indeed, yeah. I mean, as I said, I'm with it so far. As I said, I just hope it does stick the landing. But I'm really enjoying this, and you know, as I said, I literally want to watch it the minute it's available. So, and that doesn't always. There's only a few shows that I do that for. So yeah.
One of the creepiest things I've ever seen is when he gets taken over, the sheep stands up on its hind legs and it's looking at you. And the synthetic's like, oh, he's highly intelligent. Right? I was like, oh, what is that?
People have complained about the CGI in that scene. I thought it was brilliantly done. It's silly if you try and tell a third party about it after the fact, Chris. It doesn't sound remotely chilling. It sounds really, really stupid.
Oh, it does. I told people about it.
But watching it on screen, it was those are the moments that get me sitting up and paying attention. And I just, for me, these episodes are now a real chore to get through. They're really dragging. And I mean, Chris, I'm trying to be patient with it because, as I say, I want to like it. I've liked all the Alien films that most people haven't. In fact, and I love Prometheus, and I really enjoyed Covenant.
I'm an Alien 4 apologist. I'm sorry, I love it.
I love them all, Kev, sincerely. Sincerely, I love them all. But
I like
this,
Alien Force, too.
but where this is taking me over this extended run, what they're using the extended runtime for, I feel, and this episode in particular, with the exception of this standout scene, the rest of it was lots of stillness,
sleepy
and
time.
people, really quite dull people, whispering to one another in dim rooms about things that I can't understand. And and so until we get to those moments, and this thrilling conclusion sequence as well, where Wendy is eye to eye with a young alien creature, a young xenomorph, and it's looking slightly differently to how we've seen them before, which is fascinating. In between those long stretches, in between those, I could have quite happily gone off and done something else. And
I probably would have.
No, what did that alien come out of? I can't remember.
The lung burster.
Okay,
Yeah.
right. Which was her brother's lung for some
That's
weird
right.
reason.
Yeah, I think the problem with this, and this is the reason why I very rarely end up finishing streaming shows, and it's the nature of these shows, even though in theory, because they are much shorter than regular television, so many of them are just movie ideas stretched out to 8 or 9 episodes. That'd be the other thing. I've got 10 episodes. No, make it a movie, even though that wouldn't make them as much money. But that's the problem I find with these streaming series, and it's a problem with most of them, especially when they're serialized like this. Is you have these long talking scenes or talking episodes, aside from the 2 standout scenes in this one, where like literally I just get bored, and in many cases I just end up, I don't know, maybe I'm developing a short attention span, but I just end up turning off. Had we not been reviewing this, this would have been one of those shows where I'm just bored. I'll watch this at some other point and end up never going back to it. And you look 3 years later, still in, do you want to watch this again? No, not really. So I want to see something in the next episode to grab my attention. I want to see some action. I don't want to see, 40 or 55 minutes of talking and 2 minutes of action. I want to see aliens, like I said, aliens doing alien things. Yes, there are interesting questions proposed about the children's synths, but that's not what I came for, and I'm now getting very, very, very bored with it. So we'll see what next week it could turn itself around completely, but I think it's also a mistake to have 2 of these, what I guess you once upon a time would have called bottle episodes, as your basically second and third week episodes, where you're going to end up losing people. Do this maybe a little bit closer to the middle, maybe, but there shouldn't be any excuse when you've only got 8 or 10 episodes or whatever this is, the 8 episodes to deal with.
This should be compelling, compulsive, all those kinds of words. It clearly is for some, and obviously, however, it's working for people on whatever level. That's a good thing. At the moment, where I am with it,
everybody. I think that's the great lesson from it.
And that's true.
We all love Alien here. Not everything's for everybody.
I think that even if we can tell that some of the characters are up to no good, Rabbi, shall we say, up to no good, everybody is still being so civil to one another. People need to start being offed. People really need to start. It needs to just turn up.
Honestly, I'm really enjoying the slow meltdown and breaking down of the not synthetics, not cyborgs, hybrids. I'm really enjoying watching them like crack and crumble. I'm finding that I'm just the whole process of where they are right now. I could watch another hour of it without blinking. Whatever it is, I'm fine. But look, there's been tons of stuff that I've hated that everybody else was like.
No, exactly.
It's a great example. We all love Alien. I think everybody here, with the possible exception of Gary, who doesn't mind it, loves Alien. Just loves the franchise. And I think half of us hate it. I hate it. Half of us find it chill. Half of us are enjoying it. It's a great example.
Yeah,
right? This is what World Smoke used to be like.
I'm so frustrated. I mean, for me at the moment, it's a relief when the credits start to roll at the end of each episode.
Really? Oh, I'm the opposite. I'm really sad when the
I'm like, oh man, it's over.
Yeah,
I really am.
Exactly. And also, I don't need another Alien film, or series, which is a greatest hits thing. I want something new, and this has given us something new. So, which I'm sorry, in my opinion, Romulus did not. So yeah,
give me something new. Just give it me a bit faster, with a bit more energy. Because for me, I accept this is an intelligent, well-made show, but the very worst thing that anything could ever be for me is boring.
Okay, let me challenge you with something, Dan, that I've noticed that, and this is a reason why my wife is going to stream it all at once, because you can immediately get the taste of this episode out and jump into the next one. And doing a week-to-week show and judging each single episode throughout the whole thing, I've noticed that when you do a full rewatch all the way through it, or if you wait for all the episodes to drop, you might have a different perspective.
And
interesting idea.
And I agree with that. And I rarely, even when I do get into series, I rarely do the week-to-week thing. Usually, I'll wait for it to drop all at once, and that may be what I would have done normally with this. But I think the problem is just slamming on the brakes the way they did 2 episodes in, where you have we start off with all that momentum, like we all loved the first 2 episodes, and then nope, okay, quiet time, everybody go have your nap. The adults are talking. So just next week, like I said, action. But yeah, Kevin, I think you're right about that. I think, say if next week's episode is a lot better, we probably would have forgotten about this, because we would have gone right into something that was exciting and maybe just watch this at 2 times speed.
I do find that this is one of the things that does fascinate me about streaming in general, though, is I do find the whole consumption model interesting, where, between the whole binge watch or watch weekly. And I don't know whether it's because this is more like the era that I grew up in, but I find that by things dropping weekly, I tend to remember them better than when I binge watch something. If I binge watch something, literally a week later, you could ask me about it and I've forgotten most of the details. Whereas when I watch something weekly, because I'm a nerd, a geek or whatever, I tend to think about it once I've seen it. So I kind of absorb things better that way. But yeah, I do think it's really fascinating, though. I think the whole model about streaming, binge versus box set versus weekly drops is a really.
Well, I got thing. Here's the way I look at it, Keith. I think week to week that works better for episodic television, where everything is a standalone episode, which generally is what most shows that weren't like the drama Knots Landing stuff. Most shows were just episodic. It wasn't really until the early 2000s. I think the first one that I remember watching where it was serialized was 24. But that show, the way it was done, was so high adrenaline. You could go, week after week. But it's there's 2 sides to it as well. Like, I don't like the dropping everything at once, because you're right, things tend to get buried, and then Netflix is bad. There have been good series on Netflix that have been dropped all at once. They've been awesome. Nobody watched it, and it ends up getting canceled with a cliffhanger. So there's that problem too. But it's I think that the one of the worst examples, and I think the show that made me eventually hate serialized television, well, not all of it, but a lot of it, and this is J.J. Abrams. You remember Person of Interest?
Yeah.
That started out being interesting, but ended up being one of the most dull things I've ever watched. And I think after the second season,
I remember avoiding it.
It's awful.
Right? I remember avoiding it. Listen, I have to climb the wooden hill to Bedfordshire, because as Bolstrick will like me to announce, I am indeed cream crackered, ladies and gentlemen.
Cream them crackers, yo.
Yes, it's
cheers, Rabbi. Thank you for your company and your contributions and your review there of this 4th episode of Alien Earth. We'll catch up with you on the next one. I certainly hope you continue to enjoy it as much as you clearly have. Let's go and check in with the people watching in the live chat and see what they've got to say about it too. I think we could do with some input from the people who really know where it's at.
I'm going to tell you how it's going to be. With Scotch's lifetime guarantee. Take what you want both night and day. Then re-record, not fade away. Re-record, not fade away.
If it's Scotch, it's guaranteed for life.
our reactions and first reviews here to the 4th episode of Alien Earth from FX and Hulu and Disney Plus internationally, and comments from YouTube and Rumble, people watching and listening along, including Dalek El Arabia, who says it's been consistently poor so far. Next week's trailer looks better, but they may have given us the best scenes. I've not seen the trailer. I don't watch trailers. I stay away from trailers, Kev, whenever and however I can for practically everything. And Peter Harrington has joined us on YouTube and asks, is the city set on an island? Because he's not seen it. I mean, it is sort of an island, isn't it? It's cut off.
Yeah, no, it's an island, I think.
Yeah, it is.
It's the impression I got.
It's called Neverland.
Yeah.
It was literally... Because
well,
the allegories
no. Hold on, that's where the corporation is based, Prodigy, where they are. But they flew to, I believe it's I've forgotten the name of the country, but they fly where the ship has crashed is in a different country in Asia, isn't it? It's not on the
it takes place at multiple locations across the globe, doesn't it? To be fair to them, it's not localized at the one place. Thrawn Kill has joined us in the live chat and says you can beat the aliens with a ticking clock, but suggests it's full of padding and plot armor. Gary, you used the expression plot armor last week. I'd never heard it before.
Well,
Thrawn
that
Kill
was
clearly
because
agrees.
I thought that the brother, it's like there's so much plot armor around the brother to allow him to not be killed about 10 times during that initial exploration of the ship. Although there was hints in this one that his fate is not going to be too good because you have that one hybrid watching him from the bushes.
Yeah.
We've been joined by Keely Chow in the live chat, who says, "Hey everybody," and lots of comments here from Dalek El Arabia. Personally, I liked approximately 10 minutes of each episode. The rest are mostly uninteresting characters and stupid ideas. I don't think anything about the show is stupid. I think it's actually just as deep as the rabbi says. It's in the presentation in which it's losing me. And I don't think it's all style and no substance. There's a lot of substance to this.
Dan, you made a good point about not wanting to watch the trailers for the next episode, because I remember back in the early 2000s watching 24, and they would show like almost all the spoilery stuff for the next one, and you're just like, we can't. I've stopped watching the trailers for the next episode if it's dropping weekly. I just can't.
Yeah, well, Kev, it's a slight detour. At the moment, I'm about halfway through a rewatch of the complete 14 seasons. Well, 17 if you count the relaunch. 14 seasons of Dallas. I bought an enormous DVD box set.
Dallas, wow.
And one thing I'd forgotten, and Columbo does this too, and I have to do this when I watch Columbo, is before the episode starts from American television, they've got 30 seconds of stuff that's going to happen in the next episode.
They all did that. Rockford Files does it too.
We never had those. If they were packaged like that overseas, I don't know. But when British television used to show those shows, they'd cut that off. So what's all this? And so I'm there, I'm putting my fingers in my ears, I'm covering my eyes. I don't want to know what happens.
Dan, I don't know whether you remember the other thing that they used to do over here, which seems really weird now, is especially the BBC did this, is they would move the beginning credits to before the teaser. You wouldn't have a teaser. Basically, shows would start, like Star Trek would start with the mission
statement. The way British shows would, straight into the title sequence.
And then you'd have a scene, and then suddenly you'd get, the episode name and everything come up and it's like, what? And it wasn't until I saw how they were supposed to be, or how they were broadcast in the States, that you realized, they have a scene, and then because of the way they did commercials and stuff.
It felt odd at the time, but we couldn't put our fingers on as to why, because obviously we lived in Britain and the world was a far larger place then, and fewer people had been to the States and could tell us why things looked a certain way, guys. We've got a comment.
Yeah, especially over here in the 80s, it would start like tonight on The Fall Guy, and then it would have like 30 seconds of scenes and stuff, and then it would
30
go into
seconds. Gareth.
Well, they used to do announcements too at the end of every episode. Well, you did this when you're watching the previous show. And up next on blah 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 blah. Here's the entire plot. You don't need to see it anymore. Enjoy.
No, you know what, Chris? We'd get right after the story proper was over, we'd get, stay tuned for scenes from our next episode.
Yeah.
Next time on an all-new exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation, something happens to Worf.
Yeah.
It's a long way of saying, yeah, Kev, I don't watch trailers either, mate. Peter Harrington on YouTube says, Alien is a fear factor based under siege of an idea for me. Set it on a planet in the future. It's in lockdown. The aliens cannot be let out in fear of devastating the planet. It should be a ride. Maybe they are taking us to that place. This is what I keep telling myself. Maybe they're taking us there.
There's always the flashback episode where we start seeing the bigger plan, and I feel like we're going to find out that, we know that ship was intentionally crashed. It has to be, and we're going to get that episode. I feel like we're going to get that flashback.
They have to take me somewhere that I want to go. Not there, definitely not there. Somewhere I want to go.
Maybe that's a scene from the final episode.
Because I'm trying to remain good humoured about this. I'm trying to watch this with a fuller heart and without crossing my arms. But another episode like 3 and 4, and it's going to be next to impossible for them to win me back. I'm ashamed to say. It is what it is.
Really quickly, I think ever since he said it, I keep wondering whether Kevin's wife has the right idea that would at least work for me. Because for me, I think that the biggest struggle so far on these 4 episodes is just the narrative seems too diffuse. It's like there's all over the place with too many things we have to keep track of. And like for this particular episode, I kind of thought, well, is this show really just going to be a massive allegory about like the dangers of rushing headlong into AI development? Because now you have all the hybrids going crazy. You have one of them who's like has a hysterical pregnancy now. You have one of them who's being co-opted by, Morrow. There's one of them, and I don't know his name. He was sitting at the table, outside where they're all drawing. And I thought to myself, they haven't done anything with that one. He was the one kid who was there when Morrow came in to the egg chamber, and I thought, okay, the one there who's to the left of the brother. I thought they'd given that one nothing to do, so it just seems that it's just too.
He's renamed himself.
That's not Isaac. Isaac is not him. Isaac is the one who becomes the scientist. That was the guy in the picture we just saw who's at the forefront on the left.
Yeah,
that's Isaac.
That's who you meant. Sorry.
I was talking about the one who, Dan, if you put that picture up again, the one who's right next to the hybrid who wants to be the favorite. They've given her at least that. See, the one right there who's like kind of sitting up on his knees. Right there above.
Oh yeah, that's the one
I thought he's done next to nothing. So if anything, I just that the narrative is too kind of all over the place. It is raising interesting questions about the nature of humanity. Are they human? But raising the question is not the same as exploring the question.
No.
So I hope that they kind of start to get more of a focus to this as it goes on.
It needs to, if it's going to keep me firmly in place on the sofa each week. It seems like everybody else is sort of counting the days. Really, Keith. I'm glad you're enjoying it so much.
Yeah, no, I was surprised.
Seems to be, but it does. Well, the truth of the matter is, in all fairness, this is a hit show. This is going down very, very well. A lot of people are talking it up. And creatively, it does seem to have gone where they wanted it to go. So you are in the majority. I feel that most people are really enjoying this.
Okay.
The look and the aesthetics and the effects are something that's really carrying this show when you're not really enjoying some of the story or the non-character development or some of the annoying character development. And that's one of the things that's keeping me interested as well. So yeah.
There's enough to hang on to, Kev, enough to hang on to.
Can I ask you guys, like, really quickly, since you guys are such aficionados, do you think, though, that naming it Alien Earth sets up expectations for what it's going to be about, i.e., aliens loose on Earth, that I think people might be frustrated that it's not doing that?
Yeah. No, it's a big it's a tease, but it's done on purpose. You know, that was one of the things I was thinking, like, am I going to see that in Alien 4? We got these aliens. Are they, and they're heading towards Earth? Are we going to actually see a battle on Earth? And this has kind of been a thing. Like, I would like to have seen that, but I think you're right. And obviously they can't really do that. They have to kind of keep it under wraps, but there's going to be a lot of carnage of aliens still yet to see, I believe.
Yeah. And Gary, by the way, I just want to say, Gary, I've always as well been in the same camp as you, in so much as in my head canon, Outland is definitely part of the Alien universe.
I adore Outland. I actually just I pre-ordered the 4K earlier this morning. I love that movie. A part of me actually wishes that Sean Connery was still alive, because I'd actually like his Marshal to show up in the final episode and just start, blasting and kicking alien butt. I think that
what's this alien then? Where's the alien?
Why not? Why not at this point? Yeah, let's start busting some skulls, blowing some things up. Let's see some more xenomorphs. And all hell needs to break loose for me personally, but obviously all opinions are welcome. There's no wrong takes on this. I'm in it until the 8th episode because I agree that I would be. So we'll see where it takes me. Am I going to be regretting the whole thing? I don't know. Next episode arrives Tuesday, the 2nd of September on FX and Hulu, Wednesday, the 3rd on Disney Plus in the UK, other territories. Ooh. And there's still another, so there's 4 more to come, another 3 after that. All episodes available to watch for Kev's missus and anybody else who's keeping their powder dry. That'll all be available for you to binge watch or to stream come September the 24th. And you can work out whose side you were on out of our divide here on the panel as we march through to the conclusion of Alien Earth.
Thanks for the ride. So, do you know how to get to this party? Kit, find intersection. Imperial. PCH. Oh, you have GPS. That's awesome. Kit, CD. Play track number 4. Sure. I'm needed elsewhere. Kit, let's hit.
Was one of those guys looked a bit like Elon Musk to me? Do you think that's where he could have got the idea for the X truck or whatever it's called? So this is the Spacebook Live, YouTube and Rumble here, picking our way through the week in Geek. Lots of stops off on the way to that long-form review of the 4th episode of Alien Earth. We can see the Earth from where we are now, from different corners, from the panel here, all boys and our various toys in the nicest possible way. And that wraps it up for another one. Thank you, everybody, for coming on, getting stuck into it, and being game for all our nonsense, Kev. I don't know, rank amateurs compared to you here on this show, but I do hope you've enjoyed the ride on our Space Hopper. Anyway,
I love being on the Spacebook thing you got going here, dude. Keep it up.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. It gives you a great venue to explore other non-Doctor Who stuff, and you know how much fandom is out there, and I love sharing it with you. I loved it when we talked about Who Dares Wins way back in the day. It was a lot of fun, and we got a lot of fun stuff going on at the Fandom Podcast Network. We're celebrating 1990 right now. A lot of good movies came out there, and we're also celebrating canon films on our Couch Potato Theater, 80s canon films, which is why we just recently talked about Cobra. We're doing Invasion USA next. We're doing Bloodsport and a bunch of others. So make sure you check out the network. Appreciate you guys. You can find me on Spartan_Phoenix on all your socials.
Great.
One of the best
I
things
was
about
thinking
those shows.
canon in the 90s, that's like Chuck Norris all over the place.
Yeah, mostly 80s, but yeah, definitely. Yeah.
One of the best things about those shows, I'm a huge 80s fan, but there's lots of movies from the 80s I've never seen. But listening to you guys doing that show, it's like, oh, maybe I should give that one another look. Maybe I should seek that one out. It was always the one that I never rented from the rental store. Maybe I should view it now and sort of tick the box. So it's a great way of nudging me back to the. I don't need much encouragement to go back to the 80s.
Sorry, what's the name of your podcast, Kevin?
It's the Fandom Podcast Network. Yeah, and we're also talking Star Trek on your Union Federation podcast of the new Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. And yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff on there. Our buddy Adam from Australia, he does the Action Lethal Mullet podcast covering action films. And did you know there was a 1950s film called Invasion USA as well? Check that out. I'm going to be watching that for when we talk about the Chuck Norris version. There it is right there, Invasion USA.
Oh, wow. Cool.
I'm
subscribing as we
Thank
speak.
you. I appreciate that. Yeah, check us out. By the way, real quick, one last promotion. Tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be having guest Luke Sparks, the director of Primitive War, on. He'll be joining us directly from Australia. So check it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Great exclusive. I know you've mentioned that film several times, and I've meant to go and look it up because I saw you share something and tag me. I thought, usually if you're all over something, I know that it's got to be worth paying attention to. And life gets in the way. It's been about 2 or 3 days, but I've scribbled it down, Kev. I'm gonna go and find it.
It's a cross between a Vietnam movie where Russians are doing something really wrong somewhere in Vietnam and using a time machine and bring too many dinosaurs through a portal, and lots of rated R carnage happens. It's a really wonderful independent film that Luke Spark has directed.
Wow.
A love letter to a lot of other genre films when you start watching, and he does a great character overlay of all the characters in the film that when some of them die, you're like, damn it, you miss it because you like them so much. So yeah.
I have to pick you up on one thing. I don't think you can ever have too many dinosaurs. Other than that, it sounds fantastic.
This one's got a lot of dinosaurs. It's great, man. Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you, Kev. I'm glad you could make the time to join us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hopefully you can come back on before the end of Alien Earth as well. And we'll probably do some sort of roundtable, sort of a retrospective on the whole thing as well.
I would love to.
I've been meaning to talk about Highlander for quite a time again on this show because we regularly look in on what's going on there and with Star Wars. And I'd love your input on that at a later date. But for now, thank you so much, Kev. And remind people, where can they find you on social media again?
You can find me at Spartan_Phoenix, myself, on all the socials. And then you can find the Fandom Podcast Network on all of the socials as well. We got a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We got Facebook group as well. We're also on X and Instagram, and also now on Blue Sky. We just like to cover all types of fandom under the Fandom Podcast Network umbrella.
Not so much fairer than that, can you? Gary, thanks again, mate, for wading in.
Of course, this is no. I always have a blast every Saturday. It's great, and so great to be with you and Chris, the usual mates, and Keith. I always loved streaming with him, and it's great to stream for the first time with Kevin. So thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. And Keith, good to have you back as well, mate. I know you've been trying to make one of these for a little while. I hope you've blown off some steam, had your say eventually.
Yes. No, it's been great. I've just subscribed to Kevin's Instagram as well there. Because,
appreciate you.
All the stuff that I love by the sounds, and also I've ordered the 4K of Cobra, so that's
you will not be disappointed.
You
will not be disappointed. It's a good one.
I've been hovering on that for weeks as well. I think I'm going to have to take a punt on that too.
Yeah, if you can, do me a favor, just watch the Couch Potato Theater podcast we did on Cobra. It came out like last week. It was a lot of fun. I do a little dress up at the beginning. It's funny.
He doesn't need much encouragement, Keith. He doesn't need much encouragement at all. How about you, Keith? I know you try and do as little social media as possible because you're a sensible person. But where can people connect you if they want to?
Sure. I mean, Home Media Minefield is that's me on YouTube and Instagram and all sorts of things. Obviously, that's unboxings, reviews, and information about home cinema and home media. It is a little bit sporadic these days just because I cannot physically afford to keep buying stuff, and obviously it clashes with the day job a bit. So, but it is still a live channel, and there's still stuff on there. And when people comment, I do respond and try and get back to people with as much information as I can if they've got a question. So, yeah, you can check me out there.
Excellent stuff. Please come back soon. And we'll I think we have to talk some more Blake 7 as well. I think that'd be quite fun.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
But until then, Keith, it's great to see you, mate. All
Thank
the
you.
best, as always. And last but by no means least, Chris. Chris, I daren't ask about Frank.
I've got an update.
Oh.
So as you'll remember, this whole debacle started on New Year's Eve because Frank got inebriated
don't remind me, mate.
and did every drug imaginable. So and Frank has gone missing. We don't know where he is. So we've hired a private detective to see if what we can learn about.
Sensible move.
Yeah. So I did find this is just about to be released. So I found a picture of Frank on the evening of December the 31st. Just so we can kind of get an idea of his state of mind. So just a minute here. Okay, there we go. So so Frank was this was earlier in the evening, and then Frank just becomes a complete sloppy mess after that and does awful things. So then we know he was arrested. He was sent to prison with ICE detainees, and very bad things happened there. Then he was kidnapped. We had a picture of Frank in a dress. And then last time we got Frank looked like he'd been clubbed on the head. So prayers for Frank. But yes, so this is from the evidence file. So this is Frank early in the evening on December 31st, right before very bad things happened. So pray for Frank.
Always.
Hopefully he doesn't get his eyeball removed.
Oh, who knows what they're going to do to Frank next? We just the kidnappers just keep giving us these just completely twisted updates. So
I can't wait to see the icon if that happens, Keith.
Yeah, it's been like alien.
We'll all hashtag pray for Frank. Our thoughts and prayers continue. Obviously, you can find me on Instagram and X as the Spacebook, where I'm wheezing and groaning and ranting and raving about all things in pop culture when I can, in between having a real life. I do have a real life now and again, here and there. Come and find out about all of that. Follow me on the socials there, and we'll have some conversations and share some nice pictures. And you can tell me if you think I'm wrong about Alien Earth. You can do that too. Tell me that I've got my head up my arse and I don't get it. I'm not on board with the rabbi's sentiment. If you don't know where to find the rabbi from another planet by now, you never will. Streaming every day on YouTube, on his YouTube channel. Go and check that out and subscribe if you haven't already. Follow the rabbi on X too, and you can enjoy his glorious thumbnails, not just the 2D versions you get on YouTube, but he's only got an animated them now as well. I know. I'm surprised that it's not illegal too, but nevertheless, there he is. All your favorite sci-fi babes strutting around with barely a stitch on, all courtesy of the rabbi from another planet. And you get his live streams into the bargain as well. So go and find him and tell him that his friends here at the Spacebook Live sent you. Oh, I think that tots it up quite nicely, doesn't it? For us to fly off to not blue sky, just bluer skies than present. You can hit up earlier editions of the show, as always, in the playlist. Those regular extended jaunts into physical media that we all enjoy so much. The rabbi is the only streaming heathen among us. The rest of us love our physical media. You can go and get those regular physical media nights there in the playlists, as well as all the deep dives and the regular news shows too. Be back here for more next Saturday from 8 p.m. UK time for more of the Spacebook Live. But for now, I'm all greased up and raring to go. Thank you, everybody. I hope to bring you all back at some point in the future, but that's it. Thanks for all your comments. We'll see you out there somewhere soonish. Until then, bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
To the bad porch.